find anywhere to sit.
I got a couple of really small. It was really bad. Yeah, my mom said like
Yeah, some of the navigation is a little weird. Do you have it so that it opens in the pane next to it?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was.
Are you
It's
logged in?
still down. It's not completely gone, but
Are you logged into your account and it's doing that, or is it just the?
haven't eaten in like a week. It's all just
comes up next to it.
Oh,
The thing itself doesn't come up next to it.
all sauce.
yeah, no.
Is that a setting?
No. I was just thinking just the item
Oh, the
information,
item
the link.
does, yeah, that comes up next to it.
But as soon as you come back off the link, it goes
Right.
to the top. Oh, okay. Maybe that's something we can pass on to them. It's probably a program issue of some sort.
Is this the long agenda compared to the way it is normally? I haven't been looking at them lately.
Maybe. It's okay. Maybe a little longer.
Okay. I'm feeling for you, my friend.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't do it.
Oh, it could be the link itself.
Yes.
Okay, if you notice a pattern, whether we can pass on to them.
Yeah, it's better time
Oh, no, but I'm
to
just,
see it.
you know, if you're like, gosh, every time I open a PDF or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Really, we have to get a camera. We made it sound like most of it. No, it's just vanity. Vanity, vanity, vanity. Be mine. I just gotta remember I'm getting old. Oh, shh. This job is taking me down. I was relatively thin when I started years ago. Menopause is killing me.
I'm totally in the knitting right now, and I know it's not like fair.
Menopause is killing me. I think of food. I think I'm putting pounds on.
Yeah, I can say I have knit.
Well, they're late.
Doing a baby sweater.
There we go. Hey, lady.
Okay, thank you for your patience. Sorry we're a few minutes late. We will reconvene to open session at 6:06. And Joe, we're going to have a report of final action in closed session.
All right, so for item 2.1, it was motioned by trustee Paoli and seconded by trustee Babcock to approve the stipulated expulsion agreement for student 2401, and was approved by a vote of 4-0 with 1 absence. It was also motioned by trustee Paoli and seconded by trustee Munoz to approve the stipulated expulsion agreement for student 24-02, and was approved by a vote of 4-0 with 1 absence. For item 2.3, in closed session by a vote of 4-0 with 1 absence, the board took action to accept the resignation of employee ID number 3494, effective 3/31/24. The board voted as follows: Trustee Schneider, yes. Trustee Paoli, yes. Trustee Munoz, yes. Trustee Babcock, yes. And one absence. Item 2.4, it was motioned by Trustee Paoli and seconded by Trustee Munoz to approve the work reduction to 0.6 FTE for a certificated staff member for the 24-25 school year. The board voted 4 to 0 with one absence to approve. It was motioned by Trustee Paoli and seconded by Trustee Munoz to approve a partial leave of absence for a classified employee for the remainder of the 23-24 school year until June 30th, 2024. The board voted 4 to 0 with one absence to approve. No further action was taken.
Perfect, thank you. Moving on to the approval of the agenda. I know that we have to pull item 10.6,
10.6, yes.
as the statement is not quite ready yet for us. So we'll table that to the March agenda. Are there any other changes to the agenda?
None at this time.
Okay, I move to approve the agenda with 10.6 pulled.
Perfect. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Okay. All right, any public comment on non-agenda items?
Yes, we have two members of the public who would like to speak. Sorry, I got all flustered with my present here. I have Bob Rodriguez would like to speak first regarding scholarships and non-agenda item. Mr. Rodriguez, would you like to step up to the podium? You have 3 minutes to speak, sir.
Couldn't print out my statement because I have no power and my printer didn't work. So I'm going to read from here. Okay, my name is Bob Rodriguez. I'm here as a representative and member of the Board of Directors for the Friends of Mendocino Coast Park and Recreation District. The Friends of MCRPD started in 1974 to support the dream of building a new aquatics facility in Fort Bragg. The dream became a reality. It is the CV Star. I want to the Friends of want to let the Fort Bragg City Council and the Fort Bragg Unified School District know that we are still active and enthusiastically continuing to support the role of MCRPD plays in the health of the community and on the Mendocino coast. As community leaders, the Friends of needs your help in getting the word out that as a charitable non-profit organization, the Friends of provides scholarships for low-income families, children, youth, adults, and disabled. We can provide opportunities for low-income families who otherwise might not be able to afford to participate in the recreation activities that are offered through MCRPD or CV Star. The Friends of wants to invite all of you here at the board to partner with us to help expand recreation and use of public recreation facilities on the Mendocino coast. The city of Fort Bragg has the means to reach the adults and seniors in the community, and the school district has direct reach to the children, youth, and young families with children in our community. The Friends of believe that partnering with entities on the coast whose goals include helping the community stay healthy and have fun will help encourage greater participation in enjoying the benefits that come with recreation. Please let all your students and young families know that we can help them get into recreation activities if they need help. So if you are low income and want to apply for a scholarship for you or a family member, go online to the Friends of MCRPD at yahoo.com. 2023, the Friends of MCRPD gave out 117 scholarships. I don't know what the total value is, but that included everything from Little League to Shoreline Riders, Mountain Bike League, Junior Lifeguards, Coast Soccer, and many other programs too. So that's pretty much all I had to say. I don't know how much time I have.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
And we also have a student who would like to speak, Raymond Garza, and he's accompanied by Gary Lewis, one of our staff members.
Good evening, all. I'm just here to reintroduce Raymond Gaza, one of our seniors at NIO. He's here because a couple months ago he came and spoke to you all to get support for his senior project, and he wanted to come give you an update. Ideally, we would have put it as an agenda item so it could be more like conversational and some slides, but Ray's actually on track to graduate next week, so will not be around for the next board meeting. But he felt like he really wanted to come and give you a little update as to where things are at. As he's speaking, I'm going to hand out just a really short report that he put together for you with some photos. But if you're followers of our Facebook page, you've probably seen some stuff over the past few days. So anyway, I'm going to hand it over to Ray.
Thank you, Gary. Hello, FBUSD board. My name is Raymond Garza. I'm a senior at Noyo High School, and as Gary said, I was here a couple months ago looking for approval for my senior project, which is building a greenhouse for the Noyo High School campus. Since I was here last, I began the building process of my greenhouse. The first step I took was digging out the footprint for it and then deciding what I was going to fill the area with, which I was able to source some wood chips from my internship at Hakako Dele. The next thing I had to do was plan like a whole week where I could just go to school and actually put the greenhouse up. And the week that I planned on building was stormy all week until Saturday. But Gary, my family, and I all went to the school on Saturday morning, and we were able to get it fully up and running that same day. We left that day not knowing the severity of the storm that was coming the next day, so we hadn't like secured it to the ground or anything, and we thought it would just be fine until Monday morning when we got back. But unfortunately, the storm had taken some of the panels off, but we were able to go back Sunday morning and gather all of them and secure them in our on another building on our campus. But I was still feeling a little bit anxious about how it would stand in the storm. So we went back later that day, and the storm had basically flattened out the entire frame, and I went back on Tuesday to hopefully try and rebuild it, and thankfully I was able to straighten out the frame and fully rebuild it, and now it's back to how it was on Saturday. So yeah, and I just want to thank all of you, because with your approval of my project, I was able to finish my project, and I'm on track to graduate this week now. That's all.
Excellent. It looks great. Thank you for the pictures, letting us know.
Thank you, Mr. Garza. We have no other non-agenda comments.
Okay, so moving on to number 4, patriotic exercise.
I would like to lead the Pledge of Allegiance, which will take 12 seconds, and it's 31 words. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Trustee Paoli. Number 5 is acknowledgements.
So, February is National African American History Month. The 4th was Rosa Parks Day. The 5th through the 9th is the National School Counseling Week. The 14th is Frederick Douglass Day. The 15th is Susan B. Anthony Day. And the 19th is the President's Day, Washington Day holiday. The board also acknowledges that FFA Week is February 12th through the 17th. And we also have a retirement for Ms. Tanya Miller, one of our classified staff members that I will comment on in my report a little later.
Perfect, thank you. Number 6, communication. If anyone received anything since the last meeting of note? No? No? Okay. Number 7, public comment on agenda items, and I should take a moment to read our public comment disclosure. Individuals may address the board on agenda and non-agenda items during public comment and/or at the time they are under consideration by completing the speaker form provided on the table at the entrance and submitting to Renee Holes, our administrative assistant. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual. Speakers will be chosen in random order. A timer will be set for 3 minutes. If you do not complete your comment when the timer rings, you may leave a written comment for the board's information. Each person may only speak once per agenda topic and is required to address the board from the podium. A total of 20 minutes of public comment per topic will be allowed. In exceptional circumstances, the board may consider adjusting the amount of time allowed for public comment. Public comment cannot be acted upon or discussed by the board in accordance with the Brown Act. The board may request staff to respond orally at the meeting or at a future time. If you require a translation service, please contact Renee Holes, the district office, 72 hours in advance by phone or email. Regular meetings will be videoed and broadcasted on the FPUSD YouTube channel. Members of the public who wish to address the board may also submit public comments prior to the meeting prior to the start of the meeting by emailing boardmeeting@fpusd.us. Staff will make all attempts to share and record any submissions received prior to or during the board meeting. However, depending on timing, late submissions may be provided to the board after the conclusion of the meeting. Comments are limited to 3 minutes each, which is approximately 390 words. Okay, so now any public on?
We have no public comment on agenda items.
Perfect. All right, moving on, 8.1, student representative report.
Okay, bear with me. I just got my wisdom teeth removed, and it really hurts to talk. So, from Redwood, we have a bunch of shout outs to site counselors, Jody, and for her dedication to students, staff, and families for School Counselor Week. They're really grateful for Parents Club volunteers, Ali Munzo, and Tati Arguelles. And also they're doing their Still Popcorn and their book fair is coming up this Tuesday, so that is great. They're really grateful for the employee Melissa Piori, who comes in to help with art lessons, just to, brighten up the school. And then second grade swim lessons are starting, so every second grader will be able to attend 8 swim lessons at the CV Star Center. The site council meeting has been rescheduled due to the the ELAC meeting will take place on Tuesday, 2/13 at Dana Gray at 10:30. And then they also have coming up next Friday a superhero day, which will be really fun for the students to dress up. And then for Dana Gray, things are slowing down. The parent club meeting is on the 13th at 5:30. They also have a bunch of dress-up days coming up with Crazy Weather Day and Midwinter Break. They are apparently really excited about Crazy Weather Day, so the students can dress up as the weather they love the most and then explain why they love the weather. For the middle school, things are also slowing down. They've been having dodgeball tournaments. They have a dance tomorrow, I believe. Progress reports are coming out next week. Soccer is also taking place, and Parents Club meeting on the 27th this month. For the high school, spring sports are finally starting. Basketball is also still going for girls. That's all going great. We have our last week next week, and then that'll be the end of the grading period. We also have, as mentioned earlier, FFA week next week, and we just had our hoopla, and then I think that checks out for all of the schools right now.
Great. Thank you. Item 8.2, General Obligation Bond Funds Construction Project Update. Virtually.
Yes.
Thank you, Jamie.
Hi, Don.
Hi, Don. Can you hear us?
Hi, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, great. Am I on the agenda right now?
You are.
On.
You're
It's
on.
your turn.
It's your turn. You're on. You're live, sir.
Oh, okay. This this will be short and sweet, actually. We kind of keep a low profile, just don't burn up site dollars on waiting for the architect to get done with the drawings. But where we are right now is the architect submitted the plans to DSA on December 1st. So we're waiting for DSA to respond with back check comments. I talked to Kevin yesterday, and he's expecting to get comments back in a week or two. He hasn't been a little optimistic about DSA reviews. Actually, I turned in a different drawing on the same exact day, December 1st, and I just got comments yesterday after I talked to Kevin. So he may get it a little sooner than he thinks, because I got mine yesterday after we discussed it. So hopefully we'll get the comments and get into bidding it or get into finalized costs from FRC since it's these lease back. In the meantime, FRC's been looking at the drawings and coming up with oversight or constructability comments. Filling in holes in the drawings. They're reviewing the DSA set simultaneously. And then they had a informal subcontractor bid walk yesterday. We walked a few contractors through the site yesterday, just to give them a feel of what's to come. We can't really officially bid the job until we have an actual permit. But we're working around the edges to be ready, because summertime's gonna come real fast, and the sooner we can get the price and get the subcontractors locked in, the better off we are. Other than that, the Windows project is on hold until summer. They got, I think, all but one wing done, but we're just waiting for the summer to do the final wing with the Windows. I think that's all I've got, unless you got questions.
Any questions? All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, good to see you guys briefly. Hopefully we'll have more activity next month.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you, Don.
I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, 8.3 FFA program update.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Becca Duran, and I'm the middle school agriculture teacher, and I am teaching as my third year. This is my third year, yes.
Hello everyone, my name is Daniela Oliva. I am one of the high school agriculture teachers here. Second year teaching here, 7th year overall.
Hi, my name is Kenai Hale. I'm our chapter treasurer this year.
Hi, my name is Kelsey Cooper, and I am the chapter sentinel this year.
Renee, did you get the
Yes,
slides?
excuse me. I have a PDF, actually.
Okay.
Is that correct, you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I have a PDF from these. Sorry. That works.
There we go.
So,
PDFs are not as friendly. Go ahead.
These are photos of some of our conferences that we've went to. The top and bottom one is from National Convention that we went to in October in Indianapolis. Me and 3 other students and 1 advisor went. It was a lot of fun, and we learned a lot of stuff. And we went to a National Community Service Day and met a lot of new people. So, yeah, we went to Indianapolis.
On the last slide, too, there was a conference called MFE, and it stands for Made for Excellence. There we learned a lot about our leadership skills and how we can tie those in with our own personal lives and how we can apply that to our chapter. And then the speaking competition happened yesterday. We had 1 person for job interview, 3 middle schoolers for Creed, and 4 sophomores for Improv 2.
On the bottom right, on the bottom right, we have a picture of us at something called SLN. So we went to that a couple months ago in Arcata. It was really good to get members involved. It was also really good for middle schoolers to get involved because it was an activity for them to go to. It was a lot about self-leadership and kind of managing your FFA program and how you can get more involved.
I'll bring this down this time. You can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So at the middle school site, we have a lot of really fun things happening. I just got a new batch of 6th graders, and they're getting used to working and getting their hands dirty in the soil. And that's a picture you see there. The group of boys was very proud of their tree stump that they dug out. It was awesome seeing them work together for that. And they did not care how dirty their clothes got. We also have been super active in the kitchen. Our 8th graders are finally getting to do a lot of cooking, and they just finished today a slow-cooked ribs for them to taste test their barbecue sauces. And that was a contest, and it was really hard this year. It was very hard choosing who was winning that. And then you see some other pictures of just other class activities that they've been doing. Lots of cooking, lots of applying principles of farm to table so that they get to enjoy everything that we get to do from the farm on their dinner plate.
On the next slide, we have showcasing our new courses this year. Horticulture, we have a solid partnership with the Noyo Food Forest. And so the photo you see on the right is the aftermath from the storm this past week. And so we hope to get that covered soon to keep our produce safe when the summer days come around. We also have a student using the rototiller on a back garden lot that we're redoing. So that's been a fun project for them. And we have some just beautiful products in the greenhouse. Right now it's transition from winter into spring, so we're starting seedlings and really excited for future plant cells and continuing our farmers market, which look to be successful every Friday. So we appreciate all of the support we've been receiving, getting to sell what we're producing on our own grounds to the community. On the bottom, we have a photo from my floriculture class. We've been very successful this year with our monthly subscriptions, and we hope to continue offering events. So they've been more like student-led fundraisers. We attempted like corsages and boutonnieres for homecoming, and we'll continue to offer that for prom. And we also have Valentine's Day grams going on, hopefully also selling and making the leis for graduation. And just since they're new, we're building. And so really excited for next year to see what more we can offer to the community from these new courses. And then on the next slide, we're showcasing our ag mechanics pathway. We have a new course, Ag Fabrications, this year that has been super successful for our 3rd and 4th year students to have more opportunities to go to both of these field trips are separate events hosted by Butte College. So for them to go to a community college and see what their career could look like outside of high school was very beneficial to take different students to these 2 different events. The first one's super cool because they got to come back with that grill and have a barbecue as a class with the grill that they made. And the bottom course are more juniors that got to go recently to learn about their opportunities outside of high school. So that covers our ag mechanics pathway. Thank you.
In terms of SAE projects, we have coming up very soon livestock season. We have a group of students, about that amount of students this year, maybe plus one more this year. So it's growing little by little each year, showing all kinds of species: steers, sheep, swine, poultry, rabbits. So we cover all the bases. We also have two really unique opportunities in this area at the high school farm. We do have some students who run a co-op operation by managing the chickens that we have at the school farm. They are responsible for feeding and caring of the chickens, as well as collecting their eggs daily, washing, and getting those ready for farmers market Fridays. And they do that. They do, actually, one of them right there. She does that. And another co-op we have is managing the meat rabbits that we have on campus as well. Those projects include breeding the rabbits so that we can later harvest for meat, and raise some for students to use as show animals for upcoming county fairs.
And it was also brought up from our student representative that we do have FFA week coming up, and it is next week. So during FFA week, we just we bring up the history of FFA and we just have fun with it. But we have, our most common is for our dress up days. And on Monday we have movie night and like our pajamas. We're gonna wear our pajamas because we also have our meeting, which is a movie night. And then we have red, white, and blue day on Tuesday. On Wednesday we have FFA colors, which are blue and yellow, or our chapter shirts. And then on Thursday we have our fishing and hunting day. And then on Friday we have our Western versus hippies. Beach? Okay, beach. Western versus beach. And then on Saturday we have our 5K run, which we do every year, and it's a lot of fun. It's open to the public as well, but for members it's also open. But yeah.
Okay, so our social medias are a super big thing for us. We have Facebook and Instagram. But Instagram is our main outlet of letting members know what's happening out of class. It's a really awesome way to get publicity. If the community follows us as well, we can teach them more about stuff and see what we're doing. Maybe their child wants to get involved also. And yeah.
We want to say thank you for letting us share of what we're doing within our program. Right now we're going through a lot of transitions within our department, and we have really big shoes to fill. And we are just super excited to keep that momentum going as we are being left with a really solid foundation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
So I do know that the Friday farms are super popular, and by the time I get to the email, it's eggs or never eggs. So do you ever have items that we could just show up and see what's left, or it's always all accounted for?
Sometimes people forget to show up.
Okay, so come at 4 o'clock, right?
Maybe, I don't know, do we wait till Fridays to sell eggs, or is
We
it?
do, and usually those are all the eggs we get for the week.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, all the items are usually gone.
Yes.
I gotta get the email as soon as it comes. Even then, sometimes they're still gone.
I think someone has access to it sooner. It's it's already populated with people's names.
Here's a hint, it's the same spreadsheet week to week, so just go in and check it early.
Gotcha. Oh, you're going ahead.
So it's just a
People
tab
are
on the
jumping
bottom.
up.
Yeah.
Why?
Yes.
Okay, and now I know the
Thank
trick.
you.
Exactly.
When the middle school gets chickens again, there'll be more eggs.
There'll be more
Excellent.
eggs. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for all
you
that
so
you do.
much.
It's not a very good egg time.
No,
Yeah,
no.
we should be getting a lot more in the spring.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to
There's a water bottle, ladies.
8.4 school counseling report.
Okay. So there's the school counseling report. Did you have any questions about the school counseling report? Did you have a chance to look at it?
Well, there was 2 sections updated today, so.
Yes. Okay, so I can talk about it.
Well, the middle school was added today, and then I just saw the high school changed, so.
We took out the acronyms today. We had an acronym problem.
Some pictures were added.
Yeah, and middle school got in there today. So it's going to look different at every site. So over at Redwood, I guess Redwood and the middle school and Dana Gray have all been doing Donors Choose fundraising to get wellness centers in on their campus and spaces for students to come and chill when the day is getting too much. And that's been going really well. Let's see, what else do we have in here? Just to get you some of the highlights. Our college and career days are going. And over at Redwood, Jody's talking about it in her report, how on each month on the first Thursday, the students are being encouraged to come dressed up as the career they want to be. And if I remember right, we've had an ambulance at Redwood and a fire truck. Yep, Fort Bragg Fire Department ambulance. See, I actually retained that. That's good. All right, Dana Gray. If you were talking to Erica right now, she would tell you the thing that she's most exciting about is getting that wellness center going on the Dana Gray campus for the students. And it sounds like a lot of them are involved in it because Sarah McGee is working to continue keeping it stocked, right? And then over at the middle school, Carly's doing a lot of good work as well. And I think she's using Donors Choose as well to fundraise. And then at the high school, let's see, what do we have at the high school? The high school, they've been working on A to G, FAFSAs, College and Career Center has been going with Lily Tishnan. And that's kind of like the high points. They're working with our foster youth. We're building a closet. So we're going to work on building a closet with backpacks, hygiene, and then have that for any of our foster homeless students as they move into district in future years, because we have a pot of money for that. And then in the last district admin counselor meeting, we went over a new service called the Be Well line. It's open statewide to the entire state of California. If you're a resident, you can access it, meaning that our teachers, our paraprofessionals, our kids, their families can all access it. They've got 3 different levels of service. You call in, you get connected with a counselor. You can set up ongoing care and meet with them once a week. And then they can do little support groups. And they can handle everything from trauma to addiction. They're not licensed counselors, but we discussed as a mental health team and an administrative team and rolled that out to everybody. The counseling team is incredibly tight. They're meeting on a regular basis and very supportive of each other. So I'm part of those emails. I can see they're pooling all the resources, mental health resources for our community that are available to us, sharing that out and collaborating constantly. How's that? Did I miss anything, Joe?
Just to add to it, that there's also the Bright Life Kids, which is
Yes.
for under 12. So what
Oh, good. Yeah, thank
Carolyn
you.
was talking about was the 12 and older. And then Bright Life Kids is available for, but that requires parent consent, and so it's a little bit different
Yeah.
process in getting into it.
Yeah.
But really excited, we shared those out with all our staff through the staff blog, and we need to send some more information out to parents as well, just to keep I know the counselors have, but I want to just keep that fresh in everyone's mind, that those resources are available there. So.
Thank you. It's a team sport. Did you have any questions about any of that?
So it looks like all the sites have a wellness space. Or
They have.
almost,
They,
or
I
a
think
nook.
it's a little more designated over at Jamie's site. They have a separate classroom. Am I correct? Yes. So at Dana Gray, it's they've got a separate classroom. Over at the middle school, I think Carly has created a space within her office space.
Okay, gotcha.
So they're just finding spaces. It was in the library.
They have a room.
Has some
yeah.
notes.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a team sport. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I just know that Monica Wright has been doing some
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah, there's some comfy
Yeah.
spaces there, but there's the office, and then there's the kind of entrance to the counseling office at the middle school, and the entrance has got some headphones and some comfy places to sit and things for
Right.
kids to just kind of decompress for a minute.
I'm just wondering where the high school students have, because it's difficult, because I find that to be a potentially stressful time for kids' lives. And they are obviously actively working on all the career and college and the advisory. They're trying to fold in all this SEL learning, but where do they chill? And what, you know, what does that look like?
If I'm remembering right, and anyone jump in at any time, if I remember right, we did talk about that. Mark and Tomas were, I think, sharing with us that in their counseling office area, where they've got all the offices, the kids will come over there and de-escalate and chill and relax when they're dealing with their FAFSA applications and all the pressures of
just
high
thinking
school life.
They don't want to talk about that because, you know, as
Yeah.
a parent, I have it under control, but they may
Yeah.
not. They don't, you know,
Right.
so it just feels like what they're getting from the high school is being provided by other agencies. Plus, we have the 8-hour our career and college Lily that's at all sites, which is great.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I just noticed. It was very different. The high school doesn't have that little nook or a little area that because if they've entered at the high school level, because it seems like Dana Gray is very cute. Everyone knows how to find their piece if they have that moment. So it'd be nice to have
I'm meeting with the
a
leader.
different vision or include that.
Sure. And I'm
in their
meeting with the
day.
leadership class there next week, so I'll mention that to them as well as a part of our conversation.
Well, and
so.
maybe surveying the kids, you know, what space or how do you chill, you know, or having that conversation because I think that we all get busy as the older we get, and sometimes they need the reminder. And there's no space for them to find on their own. But otherwise, it's a lot of collaboration.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on the next one too.
Okay, 8.5, summer school planning.
Okay. We've set the dates. So let me flip to the page where the dates are. Yes, wonderful, Renee wrote it in here. All right, here we go. It's going to start on June 12th and end on July 12th. It's ending a day later because we're going to give them Thursday and Friday based on feedback from staff from the last summer school session. They wanted to take Thursday and Friday around July 4th. We're in the beginning planning stages of it, so starting in March, we'll be working with the teachers to develop the roster of classes. And after that, we'll be opening it to registration with the parents. We're going to have the whole array, so everything from our extended school year that we do for students on IEPs and special education, to enrichment, to intervention, to credit recovery, and accelerated classes. I'll be able to tell you more going into the later months. So we're just starting. We've set the dates and we're starting to put it together. We might be looking to, administratively, it has a huge impact on Kendra. She's the administrative assistant for special programs, and we set it up. And so we're talking about looking to possibly add 5 hours onto a classified employee to help offset a lot of that administrative setup. We're still evaluating right now. But yeah, we're considering doing that. Any questions about that?
This has always been a luxury for our district to have summer school. So is this something that we can continue, or we don't?
So this now falls under the mandate, I think, with the ELOP funds that we have, and so we'll hear a little bit from our partners at Flockworks in just a little while about some of the plans. So they're going to partner with us in the summer. So they're kind of going to pick up where summer school leaves off for those days and make them full days for the students. And I think it will be a very successful partnership and dovetail this year because last year they did an amazing job coming on board on July 1 with everything that happened and with the transition. And I think this year's just going to be, all the conversations we've had, is going to be an amazing program for kids for those 20 days. And then we talked about the idea of trying to give space for many of our day staff work in the after-school program as well. And so giving some space so that they can get some downtime as well and recharge and be ready for our students when they return in August. So we've had many of those conversations, and I feel like it's just can't be happier with the partnership that we have with Flockworks and everything that we've been doing together to make these programs really strong for our students.
Perfect.
Do you have any other questions?
Any other questions? Okay.
If you don't mind, I'll excuse myself then.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, moving on to 8.6, campus highlights, Redwood Elementary School.
Good evening. I'm Lundy Erickson, principal at Redwood Elementary. Thank you, Renee.
Yes, you are.
Totally.
All right, some highlights from our school. Please forgive my voice. I work at Redwood Elementary, and this is what happens in February. One of the preschool teachers sent me this. This is a little shot of our preschoolers transitioning from the library back to their site. But we are the Redwood Rainbows. Many beautiful colors, are we? Thought that was a lovely photo. Go ahead. Here are some more pictures of our preschool. When you walk into our preschool, there's a lot going on. Kids are being kids. They are playing. They are on the floor. They are at tables. They're getting support from the adults that are working there. But there's a lot of child-directed play. On the right-hand side, there's a little friend who is playing with some early learning tools that lead to helping with handwriting. So he's got shapes that are half circles, short sticks, long sticks, and we work together. I helped him a lot with the M because it was way hard, but we do things together. It's one of the pre-learning activities that help kids with letter formation. So using manipulatives to create things first before they've got that fine motor skill to do it themselves. Always fun over in our preschool. These are some pictures of our transitional kindergarten. Again, play is how we learn at Redwood. Carolyn and I were actually in a training today about supporting transitional kindergarten, and the underlying thought that play is not just important, it is an issue with equity. It is a right that children should have because it is how they learn. So the kids on the left, you may see from the holiday hat there, these kids were acting out Santa is coming. They were taking turns laying down and waking somebody up and exclaiming, oh my gosh, it's finally here, Santa has come, and then they got to explore and pretend which presents they're opening up. So social play, they're getting along, they're taking turns, they're practicing language, and they're just having a really good time out there on the patio. You can't tell how cold it is in that picture. In the second photo, that is an indoor shot of some of the center's work happening. The little fellow at the front there is making black spaghetti. So he's developing hand strength. He is being creative, and all around him, kids are doing various things with Play-Doh. You can see the joy in their faces. They don't know that they're learning, but we do. In our kindergarten, there on the left highlights some of the wonderful work that Melissa Piori is doing through Flockworks. Lillian shared a little bit about that. We're so grateful to have her help at Redwood. She comes in as teachers wish. They can sign up for her time either to prepare art materials, to do an art lesson, to help put the artwork up in the hallway so that our space is vibrant and welcoming. And this was a lesson that she was doing with clay. Clay's got some really great properties in terms of helping kids feel, express, emote, and she's directing them with some heart shapes there. On the right, this is in another one of our kinder classrooms with Angie Daniels, and the students there are engaging with our new social studies curriculum. So we recently adopted Studies Weekly, and teachers are implementing it, and students are enjoying learning about their world. Here we are in first grade. There on the left, the teacher had worked with students prior to this on a writing lesson about blue whales. So some integration of science, literacy, art, and I stopped by this table, and little Autumn there, who's wearing the glasses, had so many things to tell me about what she learned about whales. They're identifying whale parts of the whale's body, enjoying each other's company too, but it was great to see that learning going on. In another classroom, again, we learned through play. I sat with Felix for a little bit. There are a whole bunch of toys just dumped on the floor, and there's bins that have short vowel sounds. So we had to find things that had the ah sound. And he was advanced enough that he could look at the lid of the box, and there was a list of the items that should go in there, which was great. So he was using his decoding skills. Okay, I need I don't know what this is. Okay, well, let's use our sounds together. Oh, ah, buh. English is crazy. I covered up the B for him. He's like, oh, it's the lamb. So finding those toys, sorting them appropriately, building those skills that are going to seep into reading and writing. Our second grade, here's an example of some of the multitasking that our teachers do on a daily basis. There's Miss Pam over in the corner. She is working with a small group, providing some intervention, some additional instruction for students who might need that, while the rest of the students are engaging on their Chromebooks. Some of them were working on iReady lessons. Some of them were doing other tasks that the teacher had put in, assigned to them for Benchmark Advance or Everyday Math or other curriculums. And then there's a picture of recess. This is some of the kickball crew. We have to take breaks from it sometimes because we get so excited and we forget where we are, and we forget how to be safe. But when it's good, it is this good, and there's so much joy and so much laughter. You can see Paula there in the back trying to run in and join our picture. But a little snapshot of some of the recess fun that we're having. We are also super grateful for Miss Iris. She does incredible things in the Redwood Garden. On the left is the annual cider pressing. Some of you as parents might remember drinking the cider and making the pumpkin pancakes. We stick with the cider these days. But the kids get to watch that whole process and enjoy the product. On the right, there's Iris teaching about worms, and the follow-up to reading about worms and hearing about worms was holding the worms. They got to touch them, hold them, and also reunite them with their habitat afterwards. But lots of hands-on learning happening in the garden. This week is school counselor week, so I want to take a moment to acknowledge Jody Schmidt, our school counselor. I can't do what I do without her, and she is the best right-hand woman. I'm really grateful for her. And each month, she helps facilitate college and career activities. Once each trimester, she invites community members into the school. So last week, we had the fire department there with the fire truck. Of course, it rained, but they came to classrooms, and some classes did go out and enjoy the fire truck as well. And on the left is Miss Claire, librarian, and Miss Kelly, librarian. I got to see a picture of Claire arriving to school in the morning in her librarian outfit. She walked past me, and I did a little double take because she had the whole getup. And I said, goodness, who is this? And she told me very proudly, but then I got to watch her walk toward Miss Kelly, who's womaning the gate. And Kelly figured out that somebody had dressed up as the librarian. So capturing that moment was was really sweet. A little aside, if you're not following Kelly's Redwood Library Facebook page, you're missing out. It's a great way to stay connected with some of the things happening at Redwood. She does an incredible job. She started that during COVID, and she would read stories to the kids every day, but she's continued to use that platform to share with families about things that are happening, not just in the library, but at our campus and in our community as well. Here are a couple samples from our Spirit Day. At the end of January, we had Zoo Day, favorite animal day. So kids could bring a stuffed animal, they could bring a book about an animal that they were interested in, they could bring a drawing. Anything goes with that. And this is a sample from, I believe it was in Miss Bishop's first grade class. They put everybody together on the table, which is a great classroom management strategy when everybody's got a stuffed animal, to put them all together. But it also made for a really cute photo. And then on the right is Special Sock Day. Our TK class, I believe that this one was from Maureen Smith's class. I could be wrong about that. But they regularly take their shoes off. It's a way to stay grounded and a great way to show off your special socks, too. We celebrated the 100th day of school on January 31st. The young man on the left was so excited. He wanted to dress up, so he wore his tie. This is a boy who's pretty rough and tumble, and he was very poised on that day, and it was fun to see that different side of him. On the right there, this is from Mary Marcher's class, and I'm going to paint a picture for you it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to help you get there. So upon entry of this classroom, you can hear the theme song for Chariots of Fire playing, okay? She's got it blasting. The kids first have to jump through the hula hoops, counting by tens. Then, as you can see kind of on the right-hand side, I think you can see it, my bifocals might not be seeing it accurately. There was colored tape on the floor guiding students through an obstacle course that did go underneath the desks, in and out of the table legs, and then kids wound up at the rug where Miss Marcher introduced the activity for what they were doing for the 100th day. But this was really physically engaging, auditorily, like Chariots of Fire. It was awesome. It was awesome. The kids had a great time. And our second grade teachers had a little rotation, so all second grade classes got to do that activity, and the activities at the 4 other classrooms as well. We are having fun as a staff. On the right-hand side is a photo of our winter celebration. So we did a big potluck in the cafeteria. We've got good cooks on staff, and it was fun to be able to sit down together, enjoy a little time. And on the left it's a still from a video. I didn't want to shame anybody for losing. We had a rock, paper, scissors championship. This was an adults only. Everybody starts with 2 Mardi Gras necklaces. You can challenge anybody who is wearing a necklace to rock, paper, scissors. And if you win, you get one of their necklaces. It went on for a while. So eventually, some staff members may or may not have said, I'm going to play you all or nothing so that we could move it along. We did end up with a grand champion and a runner-up. But here's Mr. Mike and Natalie. They were both very competitive. We did think that Mr. Mike was going to take it for quite a while, but the tables turned. So we really enjoyed laughing with each other. We had some students who started wearing the necklaces later in the week, and we were like, no, this is this is for grown-ups. No worries. You'll have your moment. These are just 2 shots that I wanted to end with. Our rules are be kind, be safe, be responsible. On the left there is my friend Finn. He is a first grader, and every day when the buses leave, sometimes I'm talking to other people and I have my back turned, but Finn stands and he waves at the buses, and he is so kind and so thoughtful about that moment where we're saying goodbye to each other. And the other picture is a little friend from Maureen Smith's transitional kindergarten, and she's wearing a cape. And the cape, it is the cape of kindness. And in Maureen's class, you can earn that. And so she got to tell me how she earned it, and she was wearing that proudly. And everybody gets a chance, because we all have our kind moments. But I thought that was a really lovely one. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very thorough report. That was great. Love the pictures. Any questions, comments from the board?
No, thank you.
When's your next coffee with the principal?
We do coffee with the principal on the first Friday of each month, 8:45. But if you're coming for coffee with the principal, you really need to come for morning opening, and we'll teach you the words to the song.
And when is morning open?
First Friday at 8:20.
Thank you.
All right, perfect. Moving on to 8.7, the second benchmark data report for elementary.
Me again.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Renee, did you get my email? There's no reason you should have.
I did.
Okay.
This is the link directly to the slideshow, so if you
Perfect.
made changes, they are here.
I did.
Okay, we're ready.
Okay. All right, so academic progress focusing on English language arts and math. We're making progress with all of our grade levels. With kindergarten, we are focusing in English language arts on those foundational skills: letter names, letter sounds, rhyming, putting the sounds together, taking the sounds apart. Those are the building blocks that are necessary for everything that comes after with literacy. In their action plan, which is on the next page, we're really seeing some good results with the phonics program that we've been using, UFly, University of Florida. And kindergarten said that they're going to implement word chains, and so I wanted to give you a chance to see what word chains are, if you will indulge me. You can write it, you can think it. I'm not the boss of you. It is a way to help kids identify sounds within a word and where those sounds are and substituting sounds. So we're going to start with the word at. At. Our word is at. Now we're going to change it to cat. So students, you could do word chains with second graders, and they might be writing those words. In kindergarten, if their fine motor skills are such that they could write, you could do that, but they might be using something that has the letter either written on it or a magnetic letter. Next, we're going to change at and make it cat. Cat. We're sounding it out. Okay, now take cat and make it rat. Next, we're going to take rat and change that to ram. So mixing it up, making sure that they're paying attention to that initial sound, the final sound, and you can also do it with the vowel. Okay, let's change ram and make it rim so that they're focusing on that medial vowel. That's what word chains are. I knew somebody was going to ask.
Thank you.
Kindergarten teachers notice within ELA that students need more practice reading similarly spelled words. Those are words like you might see in a word family. At, cat, sat, mat. So they're going to continue focusing on the letter sounds so that kids have that level of flexibility and can do that. In math, and as a reminder, our kindergarten team has opted not to do the spiral mathematics curriculum where you're doing a little bit of everything kind of all the time and looping back to this and that and the other. Their intent is to really help their kids solidly master concepts. So they have grouped the lessons so that they're teaching really in depth within a trimester about each of the domains, okay? So what they're seeing with the iReady data is that, oh gosh, we're seeing great growth in this area because it was taught this trimester, and less some with topics that were either not yet taught or maybe they were from the previous trimester. So what they're noticing is that kids need practice with geometry. So you'll see that their action plan includes hands-on materials for their centers to focus on that geometry standard, increasing partner talk. And I wanted to share something that we really try to focus on as educators, and that is that the people who are talking are the people who are learning. So as we're thinking about improving student learning, providing those opportunities for kids to talk to each other is really important. That does happen through play. It happens through partnering as well. On to our first grade. Again, seeing progress in every domain. The first grade team is going to focus on continuing with the benchmark instruction, UFly, phonics, Heggerty, which is a phonemic awareness curriculum, which is oral. They're working on all the things listed there, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the balance that happens in an elementary classroom. We've got to have the play, we've got to have the hands-on, we've got to have the talking with each other, and we know that our students are going to take this iReady diagnostic test. So we also need to prepare them for that. So I see our first grade team and throughout our site that teachers are working on finding that balance between exposing them to the iReady platform through not just the diagnostic, but the lessons that are there and available for students, balancing that with the hands-on and some of the things that we find to be more developmentally appropriate, but we want our students to be successful across the board. They are going to be working on asking and answering questions about key details in a text, as well as retelling stories and thinking about the key details within those stories. In math, teachers are seeing that there may be a gap between what they're observing on a daily basis in their classroom as compared to the iReady diagnostic. So I'm going to continue working with them on ways that they can capture some of that observational data and share it with you so that we can look at that growth as well. In their action plan, they're noticing that with most kids, kinder first and second, addition comes more readily than subtraction. It's much easier for kids who are maybe not yet concrete thinkers to put things together rather than take them away. They're working on making anchor charts with their subtraction strategies so that kids have that readily available in the classroom, using games, whole body movements, practicing counting backward. And again, when you're acting out, how many people are playing basketball with the people that are in the room? That's fun. It's engaging for the students, and it's going to solidify mathematical concepts. On to our second grade. For English Language Arts, our second grade team is really seeing that our students' foundational skills are increasing. And everybody's committed, like I said, to that UFly instruction, that direct instruction regarding phonics. So when kids have those strong foundational skills, that is going to help build reading fluency. The second grade team sees that students are able to comprehend and work with text on a sentence level with fluency and stronger comprehension. So they're going to use that to build comprehension and fluency with longer texts as well. In their action plan, Their action plan is really long. They're going to do so many things, but they're all fantastic. I wanted to focus a little bit on one of the things listed there that may be less familiar to you, and that's reciprocal teaching. So reciprocal teaching, the intent behind that is to increase comprehension and back and forth, where it's not just the teacher teaching, but students are engaged in participating and taking ownership of their learning. So with the reciprocal teaching, the teacher will introduce a concept, and then students, once they've learned this routine, they can ask questions of each other. So they start by asking a question and then clarifying. After clarifying, they're summarizing, which is working on main idea, integrating those key details, and then making a prediction. There's lots of information out there. There's some good videos on YouTube if you want to see it in action. That's something that our teams have been working on with our consultant, Kelly Smith. So I'm excited to see that the second grade team is focusing on that as well. Ultimately, we want kids to find meaning in the text that they're reading, and reciprocal teaching helps do that. And then this last, for math with second grade, they're noting that we're nearing the end of our everyday math adoption, and things have disappeared. So we're going to make sure that we've got the correct math manipulatives so that kids can work on those skills, whether it's a die or the base 10 blocks. The really good ones are foam, so that your classroom doesn't get super, super noisy when you're building numbers, and using that to help with concrete understanding of numbers. So we're going to look at whatever purchases we need to make there. Our second grade team is also wondering if it might be worthwhile to have math intervention, which I think is an idea worth entertaining. But they also do some great work with intervention in their classrooms by pulling small groups while kids are playing math games, that kids are getting some individualized instruction that way as well. And then their action plan, thank you, Renee, for helping with that. You're going to see a lot of what I've talked about: playing games, explicit instruction of vocabulary. They have to know what the words mean in order to really show mastery of those math concepts. Utilizing iReady for the lessons. Again, that balance. We're going to play the math games, and we're going to use the computer so that we're used to how it's going to ask questions. Implementing routines for independent work, and implementing UDL strategies. That's universal design of learning. It's differentiation for our students and making sure that everybody can access and show their learning in the ways that suits them best. With visuals, manipulatives, using their bodies, all of that good stuff. What questions do you have for me?
Any questions?
No.
No?
I'm glad the only question I have is about changes that you guys have done, and you reported right away that they're seeing
Results?
positive results from the change in the reading, so.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
And with spring weather, there'll be healthier kids, and maybe they'll be in school more, so that'll help too.
Healthier kids, healthier grown-ups. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Other
All right.
questions or things that I can address?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Alexander.
Hey, everybody. Wow. We have seen quite a bit of growth at Dana Gray. We're really excited about it. Starting with third grade, what they've been working on is cause and effect and comparison with sequencing. They're having a lot of discussions happening there, and a lot of partner talk. You're going to hear me say a lot of things that Lindy already said, because we're all, really trying to have less teacher talk and more student talk. So a lot of that comes with picture summaries, manipulating, cutting and pasting, There's a really fun activity where they have all of the things in the store in these little plastic cups that are like little slices of paper, and they have to order them in the order that the story happened, and then retell it to a friend. So that's been really great. We're going to go on to math. Let's see, math, for third grade, it's a lot about multiplication. They're continuing with their Math Ninja program. I got to announce their newest Math Ninja, Joaquin, is our newest Math Ninja. And soon they're going to have their really fun black belt ceremony. So I'll let you guys know when that happens. You can come see the kids get their black belts in multiplication. They're working on using manipulatives, flashcards for multiplication, base 10 blocks. So their R's are not foam, unfortunately they're plastic. So you know exactly when they're working on that skill. And a lot of math games in centers, because we feel the same way. We would love to have a math intervention teacher. We're going to keep dreaming that. And in the meantime, they're addressing intervention within the small group. So while they're rotating through that teacher time, they're playing math games to kind of reinforce those skills. Moving on to fourth grade. Fourth grade, I loved how this time around this is really small writing, but I made it into bigger writing on mine. They were really specific about their notice and wonders were about the bands that they saw changing. And what's really great, if you look at those bands, the lower ones, you want 35 to go to 27 because it's fewer kids who are struggling. 11 to 10%, so we're still going down. Then the middle of the road band there, we're moving up from 31% to 40, and then the top two bands from 7% to 12%. So we're seeing those numbers kind of flip-flop, which was really great. I really appreciated that they put that really good data in there for you guys to see. I think a lot of right now they're moving on to informational text. They're doing animal reports as part of one of the Kelly Smith writing strategies. All the kids across are doing those animal reports. And they're spending a lot of time building academic vocabulary in both English language arts and math. I think we realized recently that some of the problems we're having, I'm going to skip to math just a little bit, is that when they're doing the word problems, they haven't practiced the words addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division enough. And so when they're running across that, whether it's in our iReady diagnostics or in their tests, if you say, we're going to be using addition, and they're like, what? And it's like, we're going to be plussing. Oh. So we just need to make sure we're building that academic vocabulary, because I think they know how to do it, but when they're encountering those questions, especially in the iReady diagnostic or in the CAST test doesn't tell you to plus, they tell you to add. So we're working on that. And similarly in ELA, we're working on building those vocabulary skills, and they're providing a lot more think time, which you think is just intuitive, but when you're trying to get through things, you want to move through the things. So they're really paying attention to how much time they're giving the kids to process their thinking, so that then they express it to their partners. On to math, they actually, next one, sorry, I'm going too fast. The notice and wonders again, they included that data again, and we have the green band going up by 11%, and then the middle of the road band, they're going for 51, now we only have 46 kids, 46%. So again, those percentages are moving in the right direction. They're spending a lot of time doing more informal assessments, like exit tickets, to kind of get that momentary, in the moment assessment, so we know exactly what's going on with the kids. And they've had a lot of success using that real application of fractions to make it like, you make it about food, then we're all paying attention. So we're talking about pizza and cookies and slicing the oranges in half and that kind of stuff. And that's making a really good connection for kids with fractions. Fifth grade, on to one more, thank you. They're experiencing a lot of success connecting to prior knowledge, to make a concrete connection between what they're reading, if they can access that prior knowledge or experiences with kids. They're feeling a lot of success there. They're incorporating a lot more opportunities for choice. I think it's when you say, you can write about anything you want, most kids
and me will sit there and go, what do I focus on here? So now they're reducing, instead of having it be so choicey, they're reducing it down to 4 choices, and they're experiencing a lot more success in kids committing to a choice and moving on. And they're spending a lot of time having the kids talking to each other, especially in small groups, to practice summarizing. So kind of the same skill, in the cups, little pieces of paper in 3rd grade, and then by 5th grade, they're skipping the cup part, and they're just kind of summarizing with each other in a little small group. So that's wonderful. You skip on to math. There we go. Let's see. The big, I think, hurdle that they're experiencing is that the kids are having difficulty reading a word problem and then writing that word problem in the number sentence. Making that connection. So they're spending a lot more time slowing down a little bit, again, focusing on that academic vocabulary, making sure they know what they're being asked and how to formulate that into a number sentence so they can then solve it. So they're doing a lot of the things they've done before, math games, iReady time, which is important in the way that what we're realizing is kids aren't really making the connection behind doing your best on your diagnostic, because then that feeds into what they see on their MyPath work. If I don't do my best, and we have some kids who, like the first diagnostic, were scoring in like the 4th grade level, and then this most recent one was kindergarten, and then we're like, what? So we're trying to have them starting understanding the purpose of the diagnostic, the reason we do it, lessening the pressure that's not part of your grade. It's just to kind of inform us as teachers on how we need to teach you, and that then informs what because they'll get bored on their MyPath, because their MyPath will then be giving them kindergarten work, and they'll say, what the heck is this? I don't want to do it. So we're really trying hard to kind of switch give them a little bit more narrative behind the purpose of iReady and how it helps us teach them. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions?
Thank you for that last tidbit, because I had no idea that they were actually getting exposed to kindergarten work, if it wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I had the first student came up and said, something's wrong with this. And he showed me his Chromebook, and I was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, I know how to do this. And I said, let's talk about what you did on your diagnostic. And sure enough, he was like, and so I said, this is the reason why you need to show what you know, because you need to, he's like, oh. So he retook it, where its score went up, and he's actually engaged in his iReady MyPath work.
Well,
so.
And having that conversation gives them the power, like, wow, like maybe they'll do their own, like they'll have value in it,
Mm-hmm.
to know that,
Share that with her.
right, their friends.
actually
Yes,
means
would you
something.
please?
Yeah.
That would be great. Because the hard part is too, we give those diagnostic reports to parents. That's a really scary thing when you see your 4th grader scoring in kindergarten level, and it causes a lot of concern. So, we have to have the kids kind of switch their thinking about the importance of doing your best on this diagnostic, so we can know what you know.
Right.
So, any
All
other
right.
questions?
Anything else?
So this is more of a question for Jill, but I feel like we kind of got out of order. So is it just the way the board meetings fell, and because the high school was just here, and so are we supposed to be on a trimester with all 4 or 5 sites, or?
Yes, it just was with our delay. So this work was just completed in January, so this was fresh and up to date. It was unfortunately, with the switch over to Aries Analytics, that's really thrown us for a loop at the high school.
Okay.
We talked yesterday about using AI to try to fill in the gap and do some of the data analysis for us, and we kind of found some tools to be able to do that. So we're hoping that we can bypass this kind of roadblock that we're hitting with the vendor that we've been working with. So it's unfortunate that happened, and I'm sorry that we got off cycle with that, but Bruce is getting prepared. We talked just this week about kind of getting back on cycle with everything, so we should be hitting at the right spots now. So.
Well, it kind of made it very real for us to know like how much progress is happening so quickly, and to have it. I mean, so because I felt the same thing. Like we just got results,
Yeah,
But
where are we in the cycle? But
But it did make it, you know, that there's, you guys are making huge progress and such a difference in style and delivery and everything from the time I was on the board. So it's really, maybe it was always happening, but didn't really understand all the different manipulatives that you're using and just trying to engage all students.
Mhm.
It's pretty powerful.
And I appreciate those things on the bottom with the bands, that to just see
Right?
that's a big.
Yeah.
That was really, I'm really glad that fourth grade included
It's
those.
positive, but it is,
Mhm.
that's the kind of stuff that's nice for us to see, just,
Mhm.
you know,
The numbers.
same groups of kids and how they're moving
Right,
forward,
right.
whether they, you know, it's just a little bit.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on, 8.8, report from Flockworks.
Thanks y'all for having me. My name is Ariana Bayer. I'm the interim director of Flockworks. I just want to thank Joe and your whole team for helping our team and our teams get together and start this school year out. We're pretty excited about all the things that we're doing together. So my contact information is there. It's also at the end. We have new business cards and I lost mine. So they're on one of my many desks. So there it is. It's at the end of the presentation as well. Our anchor here is our Art at Schools program, first at Dana Gray and then at Redwood, and it is going strong in its 6th year with Norma. We can go to the next one with Norma Trejo at Dana Gray, and Melissa Piore, who we heard about earlier, at Redwood. Norma is in the art studio. She's provided about 250 art studio classes so far this year. And Melissa, it was kind of crazy to add them up and find them so close. Melissa as well, about 250 drop-in art classes and prepped materials for teachers responding to requests. Also part of Career Day too. She's been so excited to be a part of the school's kind of self-expression. The kids are exposed to paint, clay, sculpting materials, collage, and really that both Melissa and Norma talk a lot about observing the growth in fine motor development, listening for like kind of complex step-by-step sequential processes in order to build things and learn new strategies. And in the art studio, that extra special step of taking the extra responsibility to take care of art materials and clean up. But the most exciting part is watching the kids and the pride in their work. Their confidence grow when they're in an open-ended setting where it's really about their own exploration and expression and the fun and delight that they all have together. So that's a little touch about our, one really fun thing that's happened this year is Maria Nunez, who's a student at Noyo, has partnered with Norma as her intern this year, doing her, I can't remember what it's called, her internship with Norma, coming into the art classroom. Her closing project will be teaching, designing and teaching class. So there she is, helping with our one of our 3 sessions of basket making that we did again this year. So we can go to the next. In partnering with Kudos, a lot of changes for Kudos this year with Victoria Anaya Franco coming on as the director for Kudos. And she and I have been kind of envisioning how to continue growing with the Expanded Learning Opportunity program. And one of the things that we are growing is a Visiting Artist program, deepening the enrichment offerings that are available at Kudos. We can do the next slide. And Victoria also continues partnering with Noyo, Match at the middle school, and Project Right Now at the middle school, and Blue Door as well. And we've been partnering on the really fun printmaking. Actually, that previous slide shows one of the kids on one of our first printmaking trips to the Mendocino Art Center, with teaching artist Julie Carlones, who is so much fun and an amazing educator. And my favorite part, though, was she asked, you know, what artists do you all know before we started printmaking together? And one of the kids said, Miss Piore. I was like, yay! I forgot to tell Melissa that, so that was very sweet. As of last week, there are 292 students enrolled, 0 on the wait list, and continuous enrollment. There are referrals every week thanks to the communication of your staff and parents reaching out to take part, and kudos. Victoria and I are growing partnerships, as you see, and also really interested in investing in the staff, providing professional development and support so that they feel committed and excited to be there supporting students. So we can go to the next. Assets. You probably know the great work that Jennifer Ray has done for years here with the Assets program, and it's been really exciting to partner to expand like on the stellar academic support, but also expand the enrichment together. So on the next slide, there's so much captured in these in the schedule that's released each month. The students have been flocking to this wonderful cooking offering on Mondays, continuing to use the library media hub. We have a wonderful new instructor in the weight room, and continue to eat delicious and healthy snacks in the afternoons. The Monday cooking class, the students work with from scratch recipes that they request, things that they're curious about how to make. So here you see at the top enchiladas. So they made the tortilla before, and then they made the enchiladas. So Rosa's a professional chef, so they also don't just make enough for them to eat, they make enough to serve the next day, an average of about 60 students a day. So that's been really exciting. We also are investing in the asset staff. 3 staff members will be attending the Boost Conference, which is a international out-of-school learning professional conference. And so I'm really excited for them to bring back what they learned to the rest of the Flock team at Kudos. They recently participated in community resilience training, and very timely, which is a training around how to respond to both care for yourself, but also respond to others in trauma and stress. Our Michaela, who is the media lab and library coordinator, is attending a graduate level course through UC Berkeley around social emotional learning, and is going to bring that also back to our team. So we're excited about that. I think we can go to the next slide. One of the exciting things that we've been partnering on with our team at our partners at the Coast Clinics and the Blue Door is enlivening the former teen lounge at the JD Center. Actually came from there, where there's been a series that's student-led, teaching other students around how to use resin to make jewelry and artworks. So that's been very cool. Our partner from the Mendocino County Youth Project has sort of a drop-in intro to music production as well. So there's like beautiful tunes happening in the background as well. Students are really interested in printmaking, screen printing, and collage. So we have some people lined up to do that, as well as Movement Mondays with the Mendocino Dance Project, which will be in March. Not to alliterate too much, but she also has a teen series at her studio. So we'll do the March partnership and then kind of see where it goes in working with her. Let's see if I forgot anything. we also were prepping of the JD Center. Working with Blue Door this month is Teen Dating Violence Awareness. Month, and they're going to have a series of open house events hosting all of the 8th graders, and then groups from the high school as well. And 2 years ago and this year, we're partnering on interactive art experiences and activities to explore some of the concepts and ideas that they'll be sharing. Consent Valentines, and then a participatory artwork on the wall the kids will be writing into. So that they're going to be open all day tomorrow, and you all please are invited to stop in and see that as well. Let's see, what's next? Okay, that's it. More partnerships are building. We have a lot of conversations with different organizations. C-Star Studio for bringing music into the TK space, as well as maybe field trips there during the summer. And as Joe mentioned, the summer camp, and again, all these partnerships that we are developing and kind of experimenting what works with Gloriana and things like that. The improv club at Dana Gray has been popular. We're going to bring into that summertime as well as building like the staff's own confidence. You know, when we first met the staff at Kudos, we did a kind of creativity survey asking, you know, what media and types of arts are they interested in, and what do they feel confident in. There was a gap between the confidence and the excitement about a particular topic. So we're trying to bridge that gap as well as support all the kind of social, emotional, trauma-informed skill set as well. So again, there's my contact information. I'm sure I forgot some of the things, but really appreciate your time. And again, Joe and your team for supporting us.
Thank you for your
Thank
partnership.
you. Any questions, board?
Just thank you. This is kind of fitting if wellness for high school kids. I mean, they probably would be directed over at the JD. I mean, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
when you were
all the
talking about
hands-on,
when you were talking about that, I was like, well, yeah, we hope that one space could be Open Art Studio and the various offerings there. That there's a place to come. We just set up our cabinet over there to hold some of the art materials we have. And the idea being that you can pull them out, that there's a place for students to actually leave their work. This is a vision actually of Norma Trejo, that there'd be a place to come make work with artists to learn new skills, but also a place just to go use artist quality materials to kind of get your thoughts and feelings out, and also store it there so you can go back to it if you don't have a place at home to do that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, it's just amazing that all the hands-on healthy cooking, healthy food is really amazing to have that available to kids.
Yeah, thank you.
And how's your staffing levels? You have enough staff?
We sure do. There are going to be some changes coming up, but what was exciting today was we have some strategies in place to sort of have a sub pool. Victoria's working on this, have kind of a sub pool, and it was today she was like, oh, I just heard that someone was moving, but this sub person is kind of just like, she's coming on as a sub, we're going to cross-train her, but actually she's going to probably, by the time she's cross-trained, there'll probably be an opening. So she's kind of looking ahead in that way, and also cross-training folks that can support assets as well as bop into Kudos as needed. So cross-training folks, so there's more kind of awareness of both programs as well. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving on to 8.9, preliminary enrollment projection.
So we included a report on preliminary enrollment. It is not by any design, but seems to be exactly flat. Making an assumption about TK that we could possibly fill 3 classes. I don't know that that's the case, but with the age limit steadily changing each year, making more students eligible, I would anticipate that we will see more students coming in. We also have, if you'll notice at the high school, we're projected to have 2 really large classes back to back that are kind of moving through. And this doesn't show necessarily the projection from Three Rivers adds at least another 8 students on, and we're not really sure about Montessori. Sometimes they come to us and sometimes they don't, but they could add another 5 or 6. So this class could be, the 9th grade class coming in could be close to 180. We're not really sure. It just depends on how many students show. So that's kind of where we're planning at the moment, but it's a little intense. It's going to be some big classes moving through. And that will necessitate some staffing up a little bit at the high school and some changes there. Meeting with Bruce on Monday to solidify those numbers and get that moving forward.
What is seabeds?
Seabeds, that's just the old language, California. Anyway, it was the day that, I don't even know the acronym. It was one of those.
Something enrollment data.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's the day in October for years, that first Wednesday in October, that's been the day that they call Census Day or whatnot. They take our counts from for the rest of the year.
Thank you. All right, any questions? Okay, moving on, 8.10, LCAP process.
All right, so I have made some progress on LCAP. Let's see. I did attach our progress on goals to the agenda this month. This is the document that has, I thought it was not attached. I apologize. I will attach to the agenda the progress on goals. This is the document I've been sharing. If you've been to any of the site council meetings or parents club meetings, it just shows all of our goals kind of in a 4-page document that gives updates about kind of where we are on all of those metrics that we've had in the past, so that informs our work as we're moving forward. I've had really great meetings in the past month. I have met with, had DLAC last night, and thank you to Crystal for coming to DLAC. I've also, yesterday, I attended the high school staff meeting, alt-ed and alt-ed staff meeting to garner input from them about the LCAP. I attended Redwood Parents Club on Monday, the alt-ed site council last month. So all that since our last meeting. And let's see. For the parent-student survey, some of the work we've been doing through the community engagement initiative and some other things have caused a little delay as I've been trying to add some questions in. So we're trying to add some cultural competence measures in and dial those in. So I wanted to not bombard people with these. Also, as far as data is concerned, we have, and you'll see this in a minute as well, I just today got the California Healthy Kids Survey back, so next month we'll have a report on that. It's really important data that just comes every 2 years around kind of the state of where our students are, and it'll be interesting to kind of maybe do some comparisons back to the last one that was done in 21-22, which was, you know, just emerging from, and hopefully we're seeing some progress in that. And I haven't had any time I literally got it about noon today, so. But I'm excited to kind of delve into that data and see what's there.
Okay, any questions?
So was there any parents for alt-ed council, since that was the first one
The
in
site
many
council,
years?
yes, there were,
Awesome. Well
I'm trying
attended.
to think, there were 3 parents in attendance and 2 or 3 students as well.
Awesome. Oh, great.
Along with staff, so.
Awesome.
Their site council is moving along quite well, so.
So are you keeping a Google Doc, or is there something? I know
It's a
this week's
little-
not a good week to ask you for that, but
It's a little less organized than that right now. I literally take notes on a document each time, and so I have a document from every single one, and poor Renee has to read all of my handwriting and kind of compile that into like a Google Doc or something that has all that feedback. The nice part is I don't think there's been anything that has come completely as a surprise, but there have been some good ideas about how we can address some of the concerns that folks have shared. So I really look forward to being able to integrate some of those into the LCAP, and I'll share that out with you hopefully by the time we're on break. for February break, we'll get that document shared out with folks so they can see kind of the running feedback from all over.
And is there a list of meetings or anything that if we wanted to attend?
There was one that was on Monday.
There was
Did
one
it
that was, yeah,
reschedule?
that was Monday. Unfortunately, we had to cancel that one, and
Right.
we're rescheduling for the Monday that we come back after February break. So that's the
26th.
26th.
Yep.
So that one got rescheduled, and then we have February 15th still on for next week, where we'll have a chance to engage with public and parents, and we need to get that advertised a little bit more as well.
Yes, that'd be great.
Yep.
Okay, moving on, superintendent report.
Okay, I will keep this as straightforward as possible. As we mentioned before, we're pleased to honor Tanya Miller. She's retiring after 18 and a half years of service to Fort Bragg Unified. She's served as a classroom aide and a health aide at Redwood Elementary. Nurse Tanya is how I was first introduced to her, even though she was working in a classroom setting at that point. So we wish her well in her retirement and are sad to see her go, but she has worked hard to get to this point. So, in our transportation department, it's exciting that we have received 6 new electric buses in the district, and we're expecting one more. A couple of little snafus that will get worked out with some of the things as these new machines tend to have some bugs in them. But we'll get that straightened out. We are working with PG&E to get power to the bus barn. That's going to be kind of a longer term. So we're looking at some short-term solutions that will help in the meantime so that we can charge them. As it sits right now, we have no real means within the district to get these charged, and so it's a little frustrating to see $2 million worth of machines sitting there that we really can't do much with. This was all funded through our through an infrastructure, well, not the infrastructure part. We have money coming in for that as well. But the buses themselves were funded through federal and state grants that have come down through. This is probably the 4th round that they've done of electric buses throughout the state using various funds or whatnot. So, I told you that I would bring back some follow-up on the mindfulness through martial arts program. So we've looked at some criteria for selection there. And this is prioritized, that the principal and counselor will have the primary recommendations with teacher recommendations being secondary, kind of all working together. They're already working together in teams around students, but if for some reason we can't fill the program with our principal and counselor recommendations, then we'll put it out to our teachers for recommendations there. And then if we have space, we will have parent requests. Kind of have a feeling we probably won't have space, but in that situation, they are working with the Coast Clinics to host a community class that will meet on Fridays, I believe, so that students who maybe can't be a part of it through recommendation can still take part on their own at a later time. And the criteria that they're using to select are students with greatest social emotional needs, and that they're also looking at prioritizing those kiddos who aren't really responding to that traditional counseling, because there's this thought that they need to be in touch with their body and kind of figure out where they are in space, and that might be part of some of the difficulties that they're having. So. Any questions on that one?
And that's supposed to roll out in March, right?
It is, yes. And so the organizers there's Izzy and Owen are the 2 instructors. They have been in contact with each of the sites and are working to figure out the schedule. They've even modified a little bit, saying maybe an hour was too much at Dana Gray for a time period. So they're looking at like 30-minute sessions and doing reaching more kids. So it's kind of growing and changing as the implementation plan comes through. It's a great part about a pilot project is we get some flexibility there to see how that's all going to play out. So. Chronic absenteeism update. I thought I'd give you a mid-year update. Can't believe I'm going to say this is good numbers, but this is good compared to where we've been. Keeping in mind that our chronic absenteeism rate for last year as a district was 39.6%, I believe. So as a district, we had Redwood Elementary last year was at 49%, and so far this year we're at 33. And this is not students who would be, this is real-time data, so it's really students who have missed 10% of the school year as of now, as of the days that we have. So not looking at kids who have missed 18 days already, which I've seen some districts use that measure, and it just kind of doesn't make sense to me. So this would be students who missed around 10 days or so within this school year. And you see, after we get out of Redwood, which is typically, you do have higher absences just because kiddos, it's their first exposure to some of these sicknesses and things like that. We're averaging about 23% in Dana Gray, and the middle school, they were, I mean, just barely a couple of hundredths of a percent from each other there. And then at the high school, we're down to 16.1%. So overall in the district, we're looking good. Alt-Ed sites are a little more difficult because of the way they take attendance to calculate, and Sarah had some training this week that unfortunately we couldn't really take the time to dive into that, so I'll bring that back around to you next month with things. On safety, we have our first safety meeting tomorrow in this room at 3:30. We have been in contact with I Am Ready, the company that was helping us with our school safety plans, and they're also going to be working on some emergency operations planning for us. For the emergency operations plan, going to give us just very similar to what they did for the school safety plans, a lot of the background and legal and all those pieces that'll be more appendices, I think, to our actual action plans that we have. I've been in contact with Fort Bragg Police Department. They're willing to come and work with our safety team, our safety committee, kind of once we get our legs under us, to talk about how our plans integrate into the larger city plans and regional plans that way. They're actually very excited to be able to do that with us. And again, put on here about the California Healthy Kids Survey that we'll bring back at the March agenda.
Joe, with regards to the safety, I Am Ready, I remember with the safety plans, there were some things you weren't happy about that they did. Are you feeling?
Yes, so I've been in touch with them, and I can tell by the tone from the consultant that someone has addressed that with him. But we got back documents today. I have not been able to look over them in depth. I shared them out with our principals to say, please take a look over the things that you were concerned about in these documents. They tell me, yes, they've been gone through and that they should all be ready for presentation. I said, well, that's what we should have gotten when you rolled it out to us. That's what I would expect from a professional company that we're paying for. I'll get off my soapbox. But I think that they are improved. I haven't had the chance to dive into it and make sure of that yet. So. Finally, in fiscal, just a update on the governor's budget proposal. I still haven't gotten very many details about anything. I haven't seen very much being released other than those just general broad strokes that were out there. So the general feeling that I'm getting from all the legislative different areas is that education budgets will be protected in the coming year's budget to be fairly flat, but at least we're not going to have major cuts or those sort of things. So we should just be able to maintain services as they are. And I have to say, from a fiscal standpoint, really appreciate the approach that we've had, the partnerships with our unions around the fact that there are many other places that I was talking to other superintendents and they're like, oh, we're in the midst of massive layoffs. You know, some of our neighboring districts cutting, I think I was talking to Willits, they say they're cutting 12 teaching positions. And I said, I don't know how we would function cutting 12 teaching positions in the district. You know, so there's just some of those things that are happening in the area that I'm so happy that we've had the vision to not have to go there, that we can continue to support our kids and our staff in a way that really weather some of these times, because I'm really hoping that this economic downturn is not a long-term thing, that we start to see some, because overall the economic data is still indicating that the economy is still pretty strong. So I'm hoping that this is just sort of a dip and then we'll come back up. So, and that's my report.
All right. Any questions? Okay, next, California School Employee Association. No?
Nope.
Okay, Fort Bragg District Teachers Association.
Good evening. I'm Kirsten Cesario, 6th grade science teacher at the middle school. I'm here on behalf of the Fort Bragg District Teachers Association this evening. I think Renee is giving you our sunshine letter. I'm here to talk about our sunshine proposal, and I'll give a little brief State of the Union informal speech too. I want to give you some background about how we determine what we're going to sunshine so that you have a good feeling that it's very representative of our 107 members that I honorably represent as union president. What we do is we have site meetings at each one of our sites where our site reps meet with members at the site and get information from them about what they would like to negotiate in this year's contract negotiations with the district. And we take that feedback. I get notes from each and every site, and I get those in my email inbox, and I collate those, and then I generate a Google form from that, and I send that out to all of our members saying, you know, these were the most important items that came up at each site, and then I connect them to an article in the contract, and then I make a survey from that, and people vote on those different articles and then I use that information to determine which articles are the most important for all of our members to vote on, or to have. They all vote on that, and then I take that information to decide, okay, which articles are most important for us to open in negotiations. Then I have another meeting where I invite all of the members, and we discuss what the results of the survey were, and we see those, you know, in black and white in front of ourselves and say, again, are these the articles that you think are most important? If there's some that are close, we decide which one is most important for us, because we can only open 3 articles each year, and then every 5 years we can open up the whole contract, and every year salary and benefits is open for negotiations. So I hope that part makes sense to you, and I express all of that information so that you understand it is very representative of every member of the district, because everybody has multiple opportunities to speak about what we're going to negotiate this year. And we have determined that the 3 articles that we want to negotiate are leaves, Article 9, annual service, Article 17, and safety, Article 26. And I also received from Joe what the district intends to sunshine as well. So that's what we're going to negotiate on this year. I also wanted to just give a brief statement since I'm here and I'm always on the agenda and able to speak, just a little brief State of the Union, which would be that because almost everything comes across my desk or my email inbox, you get a very good idea of what the tenor of the district is. And I would say in all my years serving on the union, the teachers are the happiest I can say in a long time, because I get very, very few disgruntled emails, very, very few. And I give multiple opportunities. I feel like I communicate really well with our members and give them multiple opportunities, including that survey that I sent out. I said, if you have anything you'd like to talk about, anything that you are concerned about, and there was very few comments of concern, which makes me really happy. And I will say that I meet with Joe once a month with the Vice President Amanda, and I feel like we have a very open, productive, and responsive team with Joe, and it makes us really happy. I will say that anything that we bring to Joe, he responds so quickly. Any concern that we have is resolved nearly immediately. And that makes teachers just so happy because they know that they're being listened to. I want to again say thank you so much for the opportunity that you give us on November 1st to have a PD driven by what we want to have. We continue to really, really appreciate that. It's been really important for us. And in reading tonight's agenda, that again just reinforces that Joe's really listening to us, because I see that there's elementary art and music as a possibility again, and we've talked to him about that. I see that there is a district crisis intervention team being discussed. That's really important to us too. In light of recent events, that was something that came up, and Joe, I sent him some feedback and he responded immediately with a couple different things, which made our members so happy and felt so supported. Having that counselor come and talk to our counselors and our staff meant a lot to us, so thank you a lot. And also seeing the safety committee. that's something really important, and that's just Joe again, and the school board, I'm sure too, responding to our concerns. So we feel very heard and very supported, and it means a lot. So that's what I have to say. Do you have any questions for me?
No, it's just great to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
thank you. I don't think in my 8 years I've been on the board, anybody's ever explained how the things come from your side. So I really appreciate you
Oh, yeah.
going over that tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for staying.
Sticking it out, yeah.
Yeah.
2 hours of goodness, though.
Yes.
I forgot how long it went.
That elementary stuff.
I know, it makes you,
Oh, yeah.
makes you want to go back.
So we'll just do real quick approval of agenda consent items. Item 9. Kathy, if you want to read the items. Perfect.
Are they dated and sorry to print it? No. Okay. So it's the warrants, the minutes, the personnel action forms, contracts, and the budget to actuals report from 23-24.
If there's anything that anyone would like to pull,
I like to pull the minutes because I didn't read them, because I think they just
Okay.
popped in.
perfect. So there's 2 minutes. There's the regular board meeting of 1:11 and then the workshop of 1:20. You want to pull both?
Yeah, so I
Okay.
didn't see them.
Okay, anything else? All right, so I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda consent items minus both minutes.
I move to approve the consent items minus those 2 minutes.
Perfect, is there a second?
Second?
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. And if we could put those in the March consent agenda, that'd be great. Before we move on to board action items, is everyone okay to keep going? Anyone need a break?
I'm okay right now.
Okay, okay. Item 10.1, out-of-state travel request.
Okay, so we have, the board, I think in December maybe, approved a out-of-state travel request for 2 of our teachers from Alternative Education to go to the Big Picture Learning Guided Experience Conference in Washington State. We have been in discussion with our TSP teacher, Amanda Durgan, who would like to explore some of the concepts within Big Picture Learning for our TSP program, because honestly, the Diana Browning Wright model that they've been using with the TIERS program is really geared towards language acquisition in younger students. So by the time they hit the high school, especially if the students have been a part of the TSP program for a long time, there's really not much else. They're not really engaged with it in any way. So we're trying to find other ways to engage our students, and this seemed like a good investment to kind of get her some skills and some thoughts around how to do that better in that classroom. So.
And TSP is?
Oh, our therapeutic support program. Thank you for asking.
All right, are there any questions? Is there any public comment on this item?
No, there's no public comment.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the out-of-state travel request.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, and roll call.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Perfect. Item 10.2, approval of CBO job description.
Okay, so in anticipation of posting our position, because we would like to approve this. I realize that there is one thing that I would like to add, if it's okay with the board, that I would like to add a qualification for experience with bond management that we hope to get on there, and I don't think made it onto our final draft after we were all doing that. Oh, did it make it on there?
It's in there.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't see it,
That's
so
okay.
I just wanted to make sure that one was kind of a big one.
You wrote it on the back side of the notes. but
Oh,
I
okay.
found it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it says bond and bond construction and management methods
Okay.
and procedures.
I just wanted to make sure, when I read through it, I did not see that one, so I apologize. So, so anyway, I just wanted to make sure that one was a part of it, because that's a big part of what's going on with our CBO position.
I didn't pull or go find the old one.
I don't think there was.
Oh, there is one, okay.
I
yeah,
haven't
I
seen
was
one.
gonna ask, how much it changed, but I guess if there
I
was one-
really, I don't think there was a formal document. I think it was just lots of duties as assigned, but we're not really sure where. I'm sure there was one at some point, but we couldn't find it anywhere in any of our
Well,
documentation.
then
so-
I didn't spend too much time.
So, yeah, we use this one from, a lot of these suggestions came from a similar sized district. We've kind of pulled, crafted it, from other places just to kind of say, okay, what are the current practices, and then what do we need to add on that's specific to us as well.
And then the days worked is part of, I mean, that's standard, because I guess you accrue vacation, or do you, because that almost, I could have done my math
actually,
wrong.
it should.
It must be like, it's like 7 weeks off,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what I
Yeah.
calculated, is that
Yeah,
right?
it's the same as what's in Joe's contract.
Okay,
Same number of days.
right,
Yes.
So that's it's pretty
yeah.
standard, yeah.
yeah,
So.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know us self-employed people, like,
I know, it's
wow, that'd be awesome, like, you have to
Yes.
take your 7 weeks. I
Yeah.
might get 7 days.
Do we need to? Are you? You're not 225, are you?
225, yeah.
You?
Well,
Okay.
there's 17 vacation days, 14 holidays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, 31, that's close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sometimes there's a weird extra day.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
It doesn't seem like the 7 weeks because we'll.
I was gonna say, because it's
Right, I
spread out
guess
throughout
it's
the whole
not,
year.
yeah, I guess.
You don't
with
count the, yeah,
holidays.
exactly, you're only counting the 5, so 5, yeah.
I just feel like we're always here, so 225.
Well, yeah, when you're a year-rounder, yeah, you're in every week. it seems like.
One question I had under education experience, it says that you need a minimum of 4 years' experience in areas of school finance or personnel management. That just concerns me, that it seems like they should definitely need some school finance experience. And that's just,
Maybe and.
Yes. I know that,
I would be happy to change that word. Yeah, I
Subtle.
would agree with you. I think
Okay.
that,
because, I have 4 years personnel management experience, and I would never think to,
Sure.
I'm definitely not qualified to, do that
Well,
job, so that's all.
Right,
Yeah.
no, I mean, because that's, it's just crazy that just having a BS would be enough, but like you said, minimum 4-year
Mhm.
experience, because it's, I think, more complicated
It-
than an average,
absolutely is.
accounting, budgetary, I mean, because we've been blessed to have Wendy
Mhm.
have been a CPA and have that background, and
And a board member.
and a board member. So we want to make sure this dials in, because I, on a personal level, always have trust issues. And so I know her bandwidth of, like, when she says something, it's like real. And so coming in, we're going to have to learn someone else's style of accounting and what their thresholds are.
Well, and I shouldn't say we, I will speak for myself. I trust, I mean, I don't even have to ask so many questions, because when the thing comes and we're good, I'm like, okay.
It's real. There's no like, ooh, I forgot that.
I don't have to look at every line item, because I know that she's.
She's
putting
proven
it
herself
right.
with the auditor, with the county. We've never gotten any wacky doodle letters saying. So this is very real, and we're not liking this, but I think it is.
Believe me, it's very real. It's getting,
Yes.
this is making it real.
Can only imagine.
Not just,
I'm just wondering why you're waiting until the end of baseball season.
why am I waiting till the end?
Yeah.
Well, there's still the playoffs.
Okay, fair enough. Any other questions, comments? Is there any public comment about this item?
And if I may, some of the reason
Yeah.
for the timing was so that September is when the unaudited actuals come out, and that's still my work. So I felt like it was like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Is
Shout.
finish my work and let somebody else start with a new year, so.
Yeah, well, I think the transitioning of 1 year to the next would be super valuable for whoever's going to be taking over. So thank you for staying as that long.
Being, loyal to
Yes.
your work.
That
Really
speaks
appreciate
for
it.
her,
Yeah, integrity.
Yes, and dedication to our district.
Yes. So thank you. All right.
She's like, she's like,
She's not gonna let us have a party
No.
either.
doesn't look like.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the job description with the suggested change. Yes.
Yes, I move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Perfect. Roll call?
Trustee Schneider,
Yes.
Trustee Munoz,
Yes.
Trustee Paoli,
Yes.
and Trustee Babcock.
Yes.
And the motion carries.
All right, 10.3, approval of elementary art and music teacher positions.
All right. So we've had the passage of Proposition 28 in the state. So thank you. I don't know if you wanted to ask your question about the funding or whatnot, but I tried to incorporate that here as well. I went and looked. Our preliminary allocation from the state is at currently $293,000. That includes all of our schools, and they kind of have it broken up by school. At some level, it's, I don't know. They're still building this plane as we're flying it, so to speak. So we'll get a little bit more guidance. We know that 80% of it has to be spent on personnel. So we're thinking that with Prop 28, it being a proposition, there has to be another referendum if that funding were to ever be removed. So I think it's pretty secure funding. I would be surprised. I mean, it's easy, not always easy to get something rescinded after it's come along that way, especially when it's benefiting kids. I don't see that really being a pattern in our state in any way. So I think that it will be solid funding, or else I wouldn't be going out and adding this back in and rearranging schedules and all the things that come with the idea of this. So what I'm proposing at this point is that we hire, or we advertise to try to hire elementary art and music teachers. There's some hope that next year, as a part of the January budget, the governor did talk about creating a career and technical education credential that goes down to kindergarten to cover art and music, because currently there just aren't enough folks who have a degree in art education or music education to fill the slots that are out there. I speak to many of my colleagues. They say we've had positions posted for 2 or 3 years and had no luck in recruiting. So my hope is that does come along. The alternative to that would be to create classified positions that could do this. The downside is then we lose some flexibility with teachers at that point, because they do have to stay in the classroom if there's a classified person. So it would be preferable to hire certificated, and that gives us maybe some flexibility, and we can look at some other options with those personnel. But so we're going to start here shooting for the pie in the sky, and it's with your approval. And if that does not come through, then I'll come back to you with a plan B as we get down the road a little bit here. So I think a lot of that's going to be dependent, though, on how the budget talks go, and if they do decide to put the CTE credential in, I think then many of the folks who would be considered classified could become eligible for the CTE credential, because it's based off of their industry experience at that point. And I think that we are very fortunate to have a community that has a lot of folks experienced in both of these areas who would have definitely some skills and some interest in doing this. So.
Great. So not all Joe, it's the voters.
Yes, it's the voters.
I know, it's very sweet. Like, oh,
yes.
I know. Like,
I was
no,
like,
it's actually Prop 28. And so what I learned, what they're saying is that this money is out of the general fund, and so technically it's coming off the top of what would be for the LCFF money. So it's really it's
Sort
not
of.
new money.
It was a required that a certain percentage of the Prop 28 calculation be set aside for this program.
Right.
So it's not going to go away. It could be reduced some based on what Prop 28 calculates to.
Right. So it's not like it's new money. So people
No,
need to
and
realize
it's-
that,
and it's
because it's
not
taking out of that
also-
same.
Well, yes
kind
and
of.
no.
It's
I mean,
putting it out first.
Right. They're still calculating Prop 98 the way they calculate Prop 98, but then this is a little tag on to it.
Like, don't touch this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like in addition to.
so it's pretty secure.
Yeah, I believe so,
Yeah, but it's an even number of years,
But
as
it
they
could
say.
fluctuate,
But
yeah.
it could
Yes.
fluctuate, yeah, so hopefully it'll be consistent for a number of years so that we don't do that again, because that was rough to put it in and pull it out.
My concern with Joe was that we had such, it was a very emotionally charged time when
That's-
we reduced those positions.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly don't want to go there again.
Yep, that was
So-
when I came on the board,
Right,
so I
and
remember it
So
very
I just
vividly.
asked, and I knew it was mandated, I knew it's not like we have a choice, but I didn't know if we could, when I read the board, I'm sorry, I read it as 80% was going to be, not that it has to be, so that clarified that, for me, that we couldn't do other, like, supporting these teachers in the current, anyway. I
Right.
just worry about putting it back in, and then in a few years, somebody takes it back, but if.
Well, I
Fairly
think the
stable.
voters would have to then vote to reverse the proposition. This isn't the state saying, we're going to give you this extra pot of money. This was voted on
Right.
by the people of California. It was a proposition.
Right.
So
Mother
I think we
it's,
voted on changing the time zones though, too, and that didn't.
oh
Right.
yeah, wait, we
Oh,
voted that
right.
they could, but that's only the first step of that process. So, yeah, no, you're right.
I understand, but thank you.
And it's still gonna happen, yeah.
But it's just, again, we have a wonderful art and music community. I know it's a very big part of our community, and anyway.
Right,
I
you just want to be
didn't-
clear.
Yes, I just didn't want to have a room full of angry people.
I was
If
the-
something happens and it even gets shut way down to where we would have to cut positions.
Right.
Or cut something else to cover the positions.
Well, and
Because
it's,
you have to make priorities.
right, well, and to make it clear that, because I know there are other areas in the classroom, the teachers always want and need during reading time or stations, and they don't have their aid, and they're thinking, why are you spending the priority, why is this a priority, but this is
Oh,
why.
Somebody brought math intervention.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly,
the
so,
voters obviously said this was a priority, but.
well, someone wrote it, and then the voters voted for it. Someone else was thinking it's great, good enrichment.
So what happens if we can't hire anyone? What happens to the money?
So I believe we have 3 years to spend it, so it would just compound during that time, and we would have to provide some back because it's so very restrictive. I mean, we can
Mhm.
spend that 20% on, say, some of our Flockworks
Supplies.
support they've had, some supplies, things like that, but that's
It.
that's a pretty small portion of it for that. But I think I'm really hanging my hopes on the idea that they do come through with a CTE credential, and if we do, I've already had people approach me and say, hey, I'd be really interested in doing
Great.
that. So I think that we've got folks who are fired up on that side of things. And then just a word about the schedule. The thought right now is that we would just maintain a special schedule at each site, and it would just rotate. 1 week would be music, and 1 week would be art between Dana Gray and Redwood, and the teachers would just kind of go back and forth. So that there's some semblance of a schedule that we can work with other things as well.
And there's space at both campuses?
No, but we'll figure that out.
All right. Fair enough.
Or they'd rotate in the classes.
Yeah, so they would
Like
just,
literally
they
go
would
into
have
the
a really
classroom.
nice cart. That
Right,
would be what would spend some of the
exactly.
20%.
They're a mobile art.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're not going to a designated spot. Yeah,
Yeah,
so that would be the most efficient for
Yes,
the kids. I don't know about.
And I think that's kind of, until we get through construction, we're not going to have any.
Yeah, I
other
was thinking of
choice.
a messy classroom with clay and water and all
Sure,
kinds of
and
whatever.
we've got the shade structures at both places that would be good outdoor classrooms, weather permitting, that they could go out and do the really messy, fun projects that they could, or if they want to. Yeah, I'm looking forward to recorder concerts again.
Oh, goodness.
Okay. Any other questions? Is there any public comment?
No, there's no public comment.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the elementary art and music teacher positions.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Perfect. Roll call, please.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
All right, moving on to item 10.4, Community Day School Locations.
Okay, so we became aware through some interactions with the state that we have to ask the board to approve our community day school co-locating together and on the Noyo High School campus. And so within the packet, there were all the laws that say why we have to do all of these things. Given our size, the law allows us just to simply make a motion. However, I would ask, I did write under the recommendation what I believe the motion should be, just in my research with things. And I think we have that printed out as well.
Trustee Babcock has that if she would like to make the motion, but anyone can make the motion.
But no pressure on that if the
No.
board doesn't. But
Wait, let's see if there's any.
Yes, is there any questions?
Anyone can make the motion.
So this is also, from our understanding, this will be in the governance calendar for August, September, moving forward
yes,
each year.
it will.
Beginning of the year.
It's just trying to cover for this year,
Yes.
as we were made aware of it just in
Yep.
late December, basically.
So if we see this again in 6 months, you'll know why.
Okay.
Okay. And is there any public comment?
There is no public comment.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve that this community day schools are located with our other alt-ed because no satisfactory alternative facilities are available for Shelter Cove and Lighthouse Community Day Schools within the Fort Bragg Unified School District for the 2023-2024 school year, and that these schools must co-locate with the Noyo Continuation High School on the alternative education campus.
Perfect, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
And Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
The motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, 10.5, Fort Bragg Unified School District 23-24 COVID-19 district-wide protocols and safety plan update.
So I was looking at the old plan that we had even when I first started and kind of looking through it, and I was like, all of this is now reflected in the state plan. And we just kind of, I don't remember which funding source we had that required us every 6 months to bring this around. I just don't want us to lose any funding or have to return any money by missing this. So I thought as a procedural item, the recommendations currently are from October 2nd. And it lays out literally everything that we had in our plan. So I said, let's just recommend that we follow that. And when it updates, we'll bring that back around. So, but again, I don't remember what funding source it was, but there was a requirement somewhere that we do this through 2025, I believe. So this will not be the last time you have to see this. So.
Is there, so the plan's not attached.
No, the public health guidance is the
Right.
plan.
Oh, great.
Okay. And when you click on it, you're like, oh yeah, that looks
It does, I just didn't.
very
okay,
much
so
like our
that
plan.
is the plan.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And is that, I'm sorry, I should have looked, but is that the same, there's something that was just circulating from, was that the county that did a press release pretty recently?
Yeah, so OSHA has updated their guidelines that are, so it's this weird, so the school guidance hasn't really caught up with the OSHA suggestions, and so there's this, we're in this weird limbo.
So this we're doing will be fine, this is restrictive enough? we
Yes.
don't have to go.
Yes, this is the more restrictive of the two currently,
Okay.
so.
Any other questions? Any public comment?
Nope.
Okay.
No, there's no public comment.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the Fort Bragg Unified School District 23-24 COVID-19 district-wide protocols and safety plan update.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Perfect, roll call, please.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
And Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Perfect, so 10.6 has been tabled till March. So-
And just so everybody understands
Yeah.
why,
Oh.
it's not because anybody dropped the ball on anything except for the state approving our J13 from last year. There were several districts in the county, so the auditors had to request an extension until the end of February to get the audits to the state. So we got the letter on Friday approving the J13 from last
That's
May.
great.
So they're scrambling to get everybody's audits done, and there's just no way it was going to be ready for this week, so.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So 10.7, California School Board Association delegate election ballot.
So the ballot was attached to the agenda, and I believe that we can select. There is one ballot, or one person on the ballot for
Our delegate?
our delegate here, and then,
I have print copies of her information if anyone would like that. It's loaded up, but if you
Yeah.
want a copy of it in print,
Thank
there
you.
is one candidate on the ballot.
And she looks like she would be a good person.
she's
and
well
it-
qualified, yes.
So Tyler Nelson is still the director, and these are just sub,
I believe so, yes. That would-
regions.
It's the same information that's linked.
I mean, I don't have any other suggestions for write-in, but I did see she does have relevant experience and dedication
Yes.
to fill the, and kind of in a rural area, which is nice, but
And
that's
I can-
our region.
And I can speak to personal experience. Was lovely when I was in Lake County and working with her through
Okay.
Lake County Office of Ed as well, so.
Awesome.
Okay, any other questions? Any public comment?
There is no public comment.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve voting for Nancy Hudson for sub-region 1B.
Is there a second? All right, roll call?
Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
And I just want to make a public statement that I would hope that when Diana maybe has an empty nest, that you would consider being a delegate. I really,
It'd be fun.
I think
You'd-
it's right up your alley.
Yeah, I agree. I think you'd be amazing at that, so.
Jennifer
That's
would be
sweet.
proud.
All right, item 10.8, easement requests for Pacific Gas and Electric.
All right. So I'm just going to introduce this month. We had it on action. I spoke with our lawyer who's working with us on this, and he said, realistically, we should introduce it at a meeting and give some time for public feedback, given that it's an easement, while giving a very small portion away, but it gives an easement on public lands, so that should come back at a later meeting. So he will be providing me more of that, the documentation. It will be very similar to what's attached, but it will be specific rather than the kind of generic easement request that I sent to him. But essentially what this will do is I don't know if you could see from the presentation that was attached, I think it was the presentation, had the actual map, not the presentation part then, it was the contract, I believe. Had the map of where the Krenov School is out behind our bus barn. PG&E will have to come from the power pole that's kind of on their property across to our property and then through. We've gotten verbal approval from Mendocino College. They have no issue with it. So it's just a matter of really going through the steps, and then PG&E can start that infrastructure work for us.
Gotcha, because they'll be digging up the ground, right?
Yes, yes. So they're, right now we found out our electrical capacity at the bus barn is that we can do probably 3 chargers, and we're going to need at least 6 to 7. So we've got to increase the amount of electricity coming in, so we can do that.
So I've had a lot of people ask me about sports events. So I know somebody told me but with all these people going to electric, I'm assuming when we go to Kelseyville that we can just plug in, is that gonna be an option? And then when they
Yep.
come here,
That's in the,
these buses can be used?
yeah, and that's the fine print in the infrastructure grants that we're getting through PG&E and through the state, is that if another public entity comes in and needs to use in that type of situation, or we have, maybe someone's coming for a field trip out to visit the Star Center or whatever, that's not even directly affiliated, but if we can offer that support for them, that we would do that. And we can charge for it if it creates a charge to the district in any way, but it just that we make it available for them in that situation.
So can we make sure that this is, the public can see this?
Yes.
On the agenda, because the agenda is just the agenda. So if we could make sure that it populates for the public.
Yes.
So they can review the documents. There's no hyperlink to it.
All the documents are loaded onto the agenda?
I think she's meaning the agenda that's posted on our website right now is a
I'm
PDF,
sorry.
so we don't have a
Yes.
hyperlink out to
Yes. Everything will be linked.
to this, so we will address that.
Because people do go to that first. So it's hard for us to retrain because we're used to just seeing it in our emails, and then so then if people are used to just going to the website, they're gonna not see any of this stuff. But they'll have to know to go into the policies, which people probably don't know.
Yeah.
Because they'd have to go, they wouldn't know that, how would
Right.
they? So
Yeah,
I guess if you were a member of the public, you would just go.
And maybe we can do a little
Tutorial.
screen share video or something like that where we're showing folks, you click here, and show them the process to get there, because there's a couple of steps there sometimes.
Right, because they probably won't look there if they won't know to look, so.
And if you're not using if you're using an Apple
product.
product, you have to click multiple times.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
So with regard to the chargers, you'll have strict parameters as to who can and cannot use those chargers? Because you'll have the public,
Yes.
some people being like, I pay my taxes, I want to charge.
They will have to move a 26,000-pound bus out of the way because the chargers will actually be located inside the bus barn.
Okay.
Because
so
that's
they're
where we'll
inside.
actually pull the buses in.
Got
So,
it.
we'll
Not
do-
likely.
It's not likely. We'll do that for another school district, but we're
Right.
not
Okay.
probably going to do that for the public. Yeah. So, and the grant requirement doesn't require us to open it to the public. It only requires us to open it to public agencies. So,
And the grounds folks and staff would see something not bus-like charged into it. and
Yes.
Probably unplug it, right?
in our bus barn, it's just not open that way.
Yeah, so it's
you
not,
know,
it's inside.
Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be inside the bus
Safe.
barn, so
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I only
So
asked because
we'll
I
make
put the charging stations in for the city, and it was, we had to make sure that it was all for one for all sort of thing. But
Sure.
this is very different.
Yeah, this
so,
one
okay.
falls under a different area.
Yes.
Though we have talked with the city as well, and obviously being a public agency, they would be welcome to use our chargers in a situation. Because they're talking about, electric, like some of the big fleet vehicles and things like that coming along. Trying to think of an electric dump truck, but it's going to be a thing, so.
All right, so we're not taking, so we're tabling this to March. We're not taking any action.
No, tonight was just the introduction on it.
Okay. All right, so moving on to item 10.9, temporary reduction of required budget reserve.
So, with the buses, the vendor needs to get paid before we get the grant money for them. And the grant money is going to take longer than the vendor wants to
Gotcha.
wait to get paid. We're assuming, we're working them, to see if they can hold on a little longer without doing that. But if it turns out that they're gonna stick to their net 30, then we would have to front the money and then
Gotcha.
we would get the grant money back for it.
And is that grant money coming in on X day, or is it one of those ones you hope to get within a calendar year?
So we have to destroy the buses.
Oh, first.
First, and then they will send, the old buses, and then they will send us the grant payment after proof of.
Okay, so pretty
have to
quickly
send
once
them-
you do your
Yeah.
task.
Yeah,
Right.
we have to send them pictures of holes in the blocks of the engines, like it's that specific.
Seems like a waste.
It is so crazy. Oh my God.
So who picks them up, the buses that can't drive away? Is it?
So
Probably the same people that brought them in.
Okay,
Just
gotcha.
make sure you're not going across Highway 20 that day.
Right, well, and that it'll end up being scrap metal, I imagine. So they'll recycle
Yeah,
those.
unfortunately, and that's my frustration with it too, is that the bodies are not really all that different. I mean, a bus is a bus, and it just seems very
Convert 'em.
wasteful to me that we have to destroy the whole bus and not, why can't we retrofit them or something,
Right.
this. It's
Could
a
be a
lot of-
classroom.
Yeah, well, And I was talking with Barry about that idea, is what, could we take one of the bus bodies off and put it as a greenhouse somewhere? I was thinking after our cover got blown off the greenhouse here, I said, well, it's not gonna get blown off a bus.
Be a chicken
So,
coop.
Yeah, it could serve as some other things and get creative there. So I don't know, that could just be me dreaming, but I just hate to see that go to waste. It really.
I've been asked to ask if the new electric buses have chargers inside the buses.
Oh, you mean as far as like USB ports for the kids? I don't think so. I don't.
Okay, I told them probably not.
No,
but I
it's
told them
What
it
the
is.
teenagers want.
right.
Well, they have long bus rides to games
Well,
and
for
whatever
sure,
else,
for
and
sure.
you know, so. Okay. All right, are there any other questions about the reduction of budget reserve? Is there any public comment?
There's no public comment.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the temporary reduction of required budget reserve.
Is there a
paid for the
second?
buses.
Yep.
And there's no way that this is not gonna.
We have all the contracts in place.
Yeah, no, yes.
Okay.
And I'll second.
All right, roll call.
Trustee Babcock.
Yes.
Trustee Munoz.
Yes.
Trustee Paoli.
Yes.
Trustee Schneider.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, 10.10, Board Policy and Administrative Regulation Updates, December 2023.
Okay, so this is the second reading on these, and we also included the wellness policy that we had our first reading on last month as well with those updates. So if there are no questions about it, then.
Any questions?
Some options?
I don't.
Pick the option, but yeah, no.
I don't think were there options on this one, or were
There
there
were
just?
a couple, but I think
Okay.
they were.
Yeah, there was
Oh,
a fill in the blanks, yes.
Okay.
That's
I'm
what I
just
remember.
wondering.
I was gonna say, I thought they were things that we just had to put into the policy to make sure
Okay, as
we
long as
identify the person or.
people look at it.
Because I think the only comment that was made about the wellness was that we've never punished and not allowed recess. And I know that was
Right.
your comment,
Yeah,
that
I
it's
just
in
felt like
there.
When you draw attention to it, it makes it sound like we've done
We
that.
weren't doing it, yeah,
Yeah.
but,
It's
It's
pointing out
frustrating.
that we would never do that.
right,
but I
and we
feel
would
like
never
that
stand
was
for it.
seen At some point, somebody did, and we need to.
Well, but I guess
instruct
that what's
people not-
important is that, I mean, we've been thankful to have a lot of loyal employees, but if we transition, like people are leaving, that we would know, like, hey, you can't do that, like, what are you doing? Because it's just maybe our historical practice, but if you've got new people, you've got something in writing to say, yeah, this isn't gonna work.
Is it okay that I wasn't here at the December meeting to approve
Yeah.
some of these changes?
These were the first reads from last
Oh.
month.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
The December on there is CSBA releases, the California School Boards Association releases policy updates on a quarterly basis. So get a December, we get is it a March, I think, and then kind of, sometimes they do other ones intermittently, which, you know, can sneak up on us, but usually it's about quarterly. So, yeah.
It changes a whole bunch of lots.
Yeah, so December usually ends up being a rather large one, just simply because they're preparing for the new laws for the new year that go into effect, so.
Okay, any other questions?
So just to clarify, we, because it was mentioned that like our wellness went away, so we know how to track it and make sure that our,
We figured
won't
out a
let-
system, it is not perfect,
okay,
but
but
putting
it's
in.
better.
Yeah,
Yes.
putting in some footnotes so that we see something there that reminds us that it is a locally
Unique.
adopted policy, so.
And then so if it does have an option, then you have the choice to populate that, so then it's highlighted or something, so you don't.
It's already highlighted.
It doesn't get uploaded with those blanks. It wouldn't allow you to do that, or you could.
No, we can, the board, it's at the board's discretion what language to use in board policy and admin regulations. These are suggested by CSBA, but not, if the board prefers to change some of that language in the policies, that's an option anyway. So what Joe and I learned when we switched to the new Gamut system is that the board policies that were already customized for the district were not
there was no demarcation of any kind on those. So if we got a new policy, we were replacing the old policy without
Completely.
realizing that it was, that we had rewritten, that it had somehow been rewritten. There was no way to easily check that against the new policy recommendations. So we have started to make a mark on those so that they can be sorted and identified easily.
Yeah, I could see that being cumbersome. It's easy, yeah.
Only the first time.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So with that, I move to approve the updates presented in January and the updated wellness policy.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, roll call.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
And Trustee Babcock? And the motion carries.
Okay, item 10.11, approval of proposal from QKA for renovation of SDC classrooms at Dana Gray and FBMS.
So I apologize, I didn't write that description as clearly now reading it. This is approval of the proposal for architect services from QKA to start these projects. So these projects, I know Becky had shared with you before she left, we want to bring in our students from our portables, classrooms, bring them into the main school buildings at both Dana Gray and the middle school. We have spaces identified to be able to do that in those situations. We have funding set aside that can cover the cost. It looks like it'll probably be about $1 million by the time we get both classes redone, once you consider construction costs and DSA costs and all of those kind of things. And so with the approval of this, QKA will be able to start the design on it so that we can get it into DSA, and hopefully in the coming next winter, they'll be able to come in and do it because it's all interior work. So it's good for them in the wintertime.
Yeah, it's probably less busy. I know.
I'm betting that we might actually on the construction cost. These are just estimates at this point, but that was part of the thought process too, was just keeping them active during the wintertime is sometimes a really good thing. So, no.
Right.
And
well, given the space isn't huge, it's just crazy it costs that much.
yeah, it's
I think I could build a house for that price.
I'm sure that you
Couple.
probably could. It's and really we're just refurbishing 2 rooms, putting in bathroom, cooking type facilities, and some storage spaces. So it's not.
And I grumbled.
Accessibility.
Yeah, and I grumbled today because we didn't have anyone at the board chat, and so share just the tidbit that you gave me with removing or actually installing like a new portable. Like we need a new portable
Oh, yes,
for the classroom. What does that cost now?
So
these
the
days?
most recent estimate I got when I was in Willits was that it was about $1.1 million for a portable.
Just one little,
Just
yeah.
one.
12 by 2. What are they? 12 by. What
No,
are they?
they're
12 by
like
12?
30 by 30, but
Yeah,
still,
it seems like 12 by 12.
But still, for that was $1 million for site prep and installation and all that. So it's construction costs for schools are just they're a big burden for our taxpayers, and I worry about that so much because I feel like while we want really safe buildings, obviously for all of our students, I'm not sure that the spirit of the law is being carried through, and that we have. It's really expensive.
And that's not
just
even
this work.
counting removing a portable. If you had to get
Oh,
that
no.
one out, then put it back in. So you're
So that's another, we.
250,000.
right. So it's, I mean, this seems super expensive, but it's going to last longer than a portable.
Yes.
And it includes the students on the main building.
Right.
It does, and that's the part, as Diane and I were talking earlier, talking about this being an equity issue to me, is those students need to be a part of the programs, not be, and these, in both situations, the portables are very isolated compared to the rest of the campus, and that doesn't feel good every time I walk in those classrooms, so.
Right. Very good. So with that.
Yes. Is there any public comment?
There is no public comment.
Okay, entertain a motion.
So I move to approve the proposal from QKA for renovation of STC classrooms at Dana Gray and Fort Bragg Middle School.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, roll call.
Trustee Paoli?
Yes.
Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Okay, and we want to power through? Keep going? Yeah. Okay, 11.1 FBDTA negotiation openers.
Okay, and so we had that attached to the agenda, our opening or our sunshine letter to FBDTA for the areas that we would like to open for negotiation. Article 13, the evaluation procedure, Article 16.5, payroll, salary payments, and supplemental payroll, and Article 17, annual service.
And we've sent this.
We have, yes. They were both in receipt of it earlier this week. I had the 5th on there. Obviously, it didn't get sent on the 5th because of no power that day. So they both got sent out on the 6th.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, and do you have the notes that, when we discussed all this at the last meeting, you have the notes of what we, okay. Can you
Yes.
share those if you get a moment?
I can. They're handwritten. They're,
Oh, okay.
so they're not.
That's okay.
I didn't type anything. Sorry.
That's okay.
But I did have to make a decision because we only had 3 openers,
Right.
and there was one area that the payroll was a required piece that we bring forward to change because of the change that we made and when we're paying folks in December and June. So we came to that decision in an MOU in May, and with the intent to memorialize it in the contract this time. So
that was a priority.
yes, so we had to focus on that one in this conversation. So.
Okay, any more discussion, questions? No? CSEA negotiation openers.
And again, this was provided to them on Tuesday, and we are opening for Article 6, pay and allowances, to address that issue. Our CSEA contract is in pretty good shape, and CSEA agrees with us. I don't anticipate they're going to have a lot of openers either, just because we've had a good working relationship to keep the contract kind of up to date and moving forward, and so.
Okay, any questions, comments? Okay, 11.3 District Crisis Intervention Team.
So we wanted to bring this up that as we do have a crisis intervention team from a counseling standpoint, with some of the recent concerns that we've had in the district. We have had counselors available almost immediately. We bring our entire team in from the other schools because it usually focuses in on a site, just to make sure that students and staff have availability of supports whenever we have really hard situations that come up. I think as we move into part of our safety committee conversations are going to be about how we respond to crises and what other pieces that we may need to pull in. I had outreach with our recent event that I had Mendocino reached out to me. I had the police department reaching out with any resources that they had. I had Mendocino County Office of Ed, Ukiah, just anywhere that all of our surrounding area said, if there's anything at all that you need, you call us and we'll have people there to support. So it was really reassuring that we had our entire larger community supporting us to make sure that our students and staff had the supports in place that they need. So our current crisis intervention for student crises and staff crises, I think, are strong. I think that we need to maybe look at some of those other pieces as a part of the safety committee, just to make sure that we're not neglecting any other possibilities that could be out there, and making sure that we have a plan to support. So.
So is the formation of the team going to be a result of the safety committee, or?
I think the safety committee will give us the overarching pieces, and then we'll work with our counseling team, our administrators, and establish that. also through some of our community links and our parent outreach. So it'll be a developing thing that just we kind of come together and sort of debrief about these events and how can we get better when the next thing comes around.
So do the school principals go, are they on the intervention team or have like one, or is it only just the counselors?
So they're a part of the planning processes for it.
Okay.
So they're available if needed, but usually it's the counselors that are going to be the biggest responders in those situations. So.
Okay, anything else? All right, 11.4, District Safety Committee convening.
And so, as we said earlier, we have our District Safety Committee will be in this room tomorrow at 3:30. And I'm excited to get started on this work, realizing that we already have a pretty good foundation for the things that are there, but to just really get some of the pieces that the feedback that I've heard is that we need to get better at some of our communication stuff. And so looking at how we, that's going to be a big part of the work, I think, is looking at a communications plan and really seeing how that integrates in with some of the existing protocols we have. And then just some user friendliness to the plan, I think, is part of it, because right now it's just pages and pages and pages of documents that are, like, I'm not sure in an emergency, if you don't have a computer available, you're not going to be able to search and find that thing. If we had it, in a print format in our hands, it's not well laid out for that. So I'd like to see some kind of quick reference summary type thing that we have that we can say, it was an earthquake, what do we do?
Are those flip things still in the schools with the
Three
stable
colors?
things with the, the flipped up?
Not everywhere.
No.
So that's part of what needs to be updated to bring something like that around, where there's every staff member, and making sure we have training for substitute teachers that they know to look for that if they're not sure what to do. Every classroom should have it, every office, that kind of thing. So.
Right. Well, and then as a parent, what to expect, and maybe there's a dashboard on the website that you go to so there's some message that's there if just because folks just panic, and if they know what's normal, you may not hear anything but we'll keep you whatever it is, just because I think they lose their heads because they're not able to be boots on the ground, and they're used to taking care of their kids. So it just creates chaos.
Yeah, and we talked about having some preloaded messages that we add in whatever the present details are for that situation, hit send, and so it takes
seconds,
literally 10 seconds rather than
trying to compile something
when our brains are just in that emergency mode, trying to actually write something that makes any kind of sense.
Right.
Which is
read into.
Right.
Right, exactly.
And go back later with a calm mind and go, why did I write that? Yeah.
Right.
I don't want that situation to come up. So.
You just hope you press the right number.
Yes.
Yeah. But that'll be good to get that.
Yeah, Kathy and I are attending tomorrow, so we'll be able to pour it out. Excited to get started on that. Should be good. Okay, 11.5, district facility use fee adjustment.
In looking at our facility use fees, we haven't adjusted the custodian or kitchen staff rates since 2018, and clearly they've gone up. So what I gave you was the approved schedule with the proposed possible changes, and then a separate page with proposals for how to come up with that number. And then I don't know if you wanted to review anything else about the facility use fees.
I assume when you have the minimum number of hours, that's just to make it worth our while.
That's our call out. We have to pay
Okay.
them for a certain number of hours.
So if it's a person, no.
Right. Some of there's the facilities themselves, and then there are the people. So if you just want the facility and you don't need a custodian, that's just whatever that hourly rate is. If you need a custodian on top of that, and there are many events that require a custodian, and since it's anything outside of their regular workday, so they all work 8 hours a day year round. So anytime they're being charged. If they have an event that starts 2 hours before the end of their workday and ends 2 hours after the end of their workday, they're only paying for 2 hours. So, you know, if they need them for 4, if that's part of their workday, they don't get charged for that.
Gotcha. So a weekend event would cost an 8-hour
Yes.
overtime.
Yes.
Or we've also had requests that go all day on a, so we have to look at 2 different custodians
Yeah,
splitting the shift.
shifting them
Yeah.
too, yeah.
So,
And, you know, in talking with Barry, when we originally did it, we looked at the average cost of the custodians per hour, but he said most of the time it seems to be the senior custodians end up doing it. They're, you know, they throw it out to everybody, but they're the ones that end up taking it. And so that's why I, you know, looked at, okay, this is the average cost, this is the high-end cost, and, you know, maybe we go somewhere in between to, you know, we're not looking to make money on it, but we're looking to make sure we're covering our costs.
Looks pretty straightforward.
And with the food service people, we have never had anybody take us up on that. So we've never had to charge for that, but the prices, you know, have gone up a little bit too.
So we'll bring this back to next meeting to take action, or is this just, do we take action or no?
Well, I thought we would put it on action, and then I thought there was, somebody wanted more information about it or discussion about reviewing. Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I heard the last time we increased this, we had some upset people, so should we put it?
Well, that was the fields. So this is,
Stadium on it, I don't know.
Well, we're not changing that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's staying the same.
It's
The
really
only
just the
thing we're
payroll.
talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
changing
Just
is the personnel costs associated with it.
Okay, so it's
just
not the facility.
increasing the higher rate. Because I was thinking you almost could charge for, because way back in the day when, if you would use a site's kitchen, it never got buttoned up like the staff liked it. So then they're spending their morning getting their site back in order. So I don't know if that's
Well, and food handling
eligible.
requirements have changed too.
Yeah.
They're a lot stricter about who is allowed to touch
Use-
what parts of a kitchen.
Right.
So that's why if you want to make food and serve it from our kitchen, you have to have some of our staff there.
Okay, gotcha. So that would be
Right.
the requirement. If someone wants to go
Yeah,
back
you
and
can-
do.
You can serve pizza out of the Dana Gray window, but
Right.
you can't make the pizza.
Right, so if you wanted to make the pizza, then you're
Then you have
hiring,
to
you're
hire
hiring
our
a
staff. And
staff.
people just don't want to incur that extra cost when
Gotcha.
they're doing something.
Okay, so that'll be the kicker if someone does want to use the kitchen.
Right.
Okay, so want to make sure that they're, because it's on their work time, but they're back, putting things away where they want them, and that doesn't seem very fair.
And
But
I went through a pretty detailed analysis of costs to come up with the facilities
The rate.
themselves. I mean, I looked at construction costs of school facilities, take each room average, time for a custodian,
gotcha.
utilities. So I came up with a base.
It does,
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
I was
and-
just thinking for people that you like, softball or, when they had to move the tryout thing into the gym, I mean, just stuff like that. I'm thinking of those kind of organizations that need things multiple days, extended time. That's why it was, but we're only changing a few things and it's not.
It's just the personnel costs.
Is there still a JD and DO conference room
available to use?
available?
Yeah.
DO? Yeah.
Not really. We don't really have a conference room anymore.
No. So we could.
No,
We could take that off.
could be your,
JD conference
I would
room, too.
assume it was your office.
Well, actually, the JD conference room technically right now is still,
Yeah, available
room.
per se.
Yeah, it's still,
yeah,
Okay,
though it's used by our partners
right.
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 to do really good things for kids. So.
Yes, so I don't know if we want that to be available, I guess is my question.
They have to request it, and, yeah,
Then
because
we'll see.
technically you're supposed to allow any, as long as
It's available.
as long as it's available and it's not
Yes.
disrupting the school day, you're supposed to allow public coming in on site, so I don't know how you take it off.
I think it's just
Yeah.
engaged
Okay.
most
Yeah.
of the time, so.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, okay. All right, so moving on, 12.1 board reports, if anyone would like to start.
So I'm gonna do a shout out like Kathy, but I have to get my phone. So middle school's my site, but I wanted to shout, I'm gonna go to a parents club and tell them how to look up our agenda and whatnot. But they posted a pretty cool thing, 'cause I know this was brought up before. They have a CTE, a digital media in their CTE education pathway at the middle school, and there was a group of kids that completed their cyber safety awareness training, where they earned certificate of completion on introduction to cyber safety, cyberbullying, sexting, sexual harassment, school threats. So that was pretty cool for middle school kids. And then they also started a group, which I don't know anything about, I'm trying to find out, Watchdogs, which is dads of great students. So they had their first meeting at the end of January. So I thought that was really,
That was in the safety session that I did at CSBA. San Rosa does that.
so someone's, because I know that you brought that up a couple years ago, thinking we need, to have dads on campus and have more involvement from that role model, potentially, or a parent, a guardian. So I wanted to share that out. And then we had, there's a March 26th wellness meeting, and I won't be able to attend, so another board member, if you wanted to go to a 3:30 wellness meeting on March 26th is the next. And just wanted to shout out for our equity work in January, the end of January. We got to some really good focus on equity. We had a bunch of good stuff on the board, and so I'm looking forward to being able to focus on that pot of students to make the education improve for really everyone once it's reached. So.
Well, I'm gonna be self-serving on my shout out, but I just wanted to shout out to Coach Showman and the JV boys basketball team. We don't know how the girls did tonight, but JV boys have not won a pennant in 20-some odd years. So Eric is very happy, and they won league, and they had the best, it was kind of a blowout.
20 wins. It's pretty amazing.
A great season for the boys. Really glad to be a part of it. I had met with our student board rep, I had met with her, had a really great discussion. Unfortunately, she has her wisdom teeth out, so she didn't stay tonight, but she is interested in getting more involved and voting on some of our items. And I do want to give a shout out. I think I didn't communicate well. I gave Joe the link, but I wanted either you or Renee to send that to the board directly, because I don't know what the protocol is for that. But so but you guys can see it in the blog. But I have put together a clothing item. It is it's not an open forever. It's gonna close on the weekend of February
17th, wasn't it?
Yes, that weekend. I think it's
And so
Sunday.
we all order our own, and then just dropped off at the DO,
Right,
right?
so it's all gonna come in a box and then I'll get it out to everybody, but, it was, I thought I was picking a variety of price points, but once they did embroidery on one-offs, they were over $100 for all the items, so I'm like, no. So I asked, and she said the only way to do it is to get 12. So hopefully we will get 12, not 12 of the same,
12
but
pieces.
12 pieces total.
Okay, to make it
So hopefully
more.
between now and the end of, it's Fort Bragg Unified School District. It's the logo that's on the website and everywhere. Most of them are black or dark gray, and anybody in the district can order, and again, it will be shipped to the office, and then I will get them to the sites. But I know the district, or the board was interested in.
And the link was in last week's blog, and it'll be in this week's blog again.
Okay.
But I don't know whether, if the board reads. I know
do.
Diana and I do, because I said, did you get an email? And
I saw it in the blog.
yeah, she said, it was in the blog. So anyway, I'll push it, I don't want to brown act violate anything, but.
No, we'll push it out as well. That's not a problem.
And I do have one item that I ordered. It's decent quality stuff.
Yeah, because it's,
But not for $100. So we got the price down to.
Thank you.
And there's a backpack and a hat and a women's jacket, so I tried to pick a variety of things.
Yeah.
So hopefully there's something for everybody, and it is nice to wear at places that, when we go to school sites and stuff, so.
Anything?
I attended my first STLAC meeting yesterday,
Nice.
and I was happy to see an annual survey that went out to the Spanish-speaking parents, and there was 2 parents attending. So it was good to see
Nice.
some interaction between them, and shout out to the bilingual liaison who interpreted the whole thing on the cuff. She did a great job. Good job, Maricruz. And I'm looking forward to attending the ELAC meetings going forward, and that's it.
Okay, and I was honored to judge the Kindness Week doorways at Dana Gray. So that was a lot of fun. It was great to see all the kids and all the excitement. There was one where we had to wait outside the door until they were ready to drop the confetti of kindness on our heads when we walked in. And there was a kid right there ready, with a broom ready to clean up, because that was the deal. If you got to pull the string, you got to clean up and they were big pieces of confetti, like Post-it size pieces. So it wasn't a mess. They didn't get in our hair. And we got bribed by one classroom with like Monopoly money. Yep. They came to the judges and slipped us a few green little whatever they were. But yeah, it was just great to see the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And I really love the kindness thing and what it, how it is throughout the district.
That's awesome.
And I also met on a more, not a personal note, but I met with the Blue Zone coordinator about my business becoming Blue Zone and learned that the district is officially part of the Blue Zone, like every site. I didn't know.
Have we been fully certified?
That's what, because I was like, oh, I
We're
know
on the
that we're
list.
trying to the
Because we
school
were
district.
waiting on
and,
that kind of final.
and I was like, that's great.
Something
Joshi,
with
you know,
wellness, because we brought up at wellness, so we
Yes.
thought we knew we were like in it, but we didn't know how
but
far
maybe
in
you
it.
want to follow up with
Yeah, okay.
whoever
It's on
and
the
find
wellness
out. I was
list.
super excited. I was like, that's awesome.
Because like I said, I know that we had provided documents and that Renee had done some work to try to
I
get.
had not heard any final.
But we hadn't really.
Declaration of
Yeah.
All right.
all sites.
So that's really great to hear.
Yes. Maybe she jumped the gun though. I don't. We'll see. We'll see.
Or, yeah, maybe there's something coming. I don't know.
Okay, so 12.2 advanced planning. The only thing listed here is the workshop's been moved to March 21st. And Kelly Smith is still available
5:30.
as far as you know.
As far as I know, I will.
I'll confirm with
Yeah,
her.
we'll confirm with her.
And that was at what time? You said 5:30?
5:30 is when it starts. Yeah, 5:30. We were allotting
Yes.
3 hours.
And I would just ask, there will be an agenda setting meeting for that, I think, right?
Oh, yeah, we'll need
Usually.
to
So
schedule
if we
that.
could set that up. And if anyone has any topics, I have a list started. Mary's given me some stuff from her note, so there's a lot that we've talked about we want to talk about, and I just, my goal is to just try and be as organized as possible, and
Not-
get through as much as we can.
Okay.
But the things that we don't have a plan for how we're gonna address those, then at some other point, before hopefully the end of the school year. And then our next equity, that's probably I'm jumping the gun here,
March 9th. March 9th.
I didn't find it anywhere.
I think it's March 9th.
March 9th.
No, I meant, I do like having that list
Yeah.
so that we can say.
Oh, right,
I can't go to safety
housekeeping.
meeting, or,
Oh,
so
I
could
gotcha.
you go, anyway, that, like the big,
The big list.
yes.
Yeah, I'm
The
sorry we
housekeeping
didn't
one.
get the.
And I don't know if that was
Probably 'cause you were
discussed to get rid of.
No.
but-
No, we typically would add it. I just think with the chaos on Monday, which is typically when we would finalize
Button
all
up
of
that.
those things.
And then
it
Renee was just coming
just
back
kinda
from
did not,
illness. Yeah, so I didn't ask.
See,
So.
you noted, people don't think these things are important.
No,
It's like when we got
I-
there, we're like, wait a minute, we can't
What
get rid of
happened?
Because for my blog, I go there and pull it to go, okay, have I missed any board things? Have I missed, like that, so.
So is there any,
the small details.
so do you have is there a list we can quickly, even though it's not in writing, that we need to go through, or?
'Cause I probably will do the Three Rivers. That's February 27th at 5:30, and then I'm gonna go to the middle school parents club that same day, so I'll just have to cut out,
And I'll also say February 27th at 5:30, I'll be at the city.
Oh, wow.
They're having a forum on housing and
Okay.
have asked me to come be part of the panel for that.
Okay.
I think on the panel, I don't know. They asked me to be there, so.
And if, I know that we talked about in the past having all of the LCAP meetings in our calendar. I don't know if we can do that, so that.
They
we
are.
can-
I think it
They
is
are,
there.
okay.
Yeah, they're on
I
the
just
board.
see their
Perfect.
faces popped up, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Wonderful, thank you.
And then, just want to report out, our magazine came in an envelope, and I made a picture. It's the side of my head. It's really funny. So I'm not quite sure why that's in there. She's blurred, the presenter's blurred, and it's the side of my head.
I actually looked if any of us were in there. I must have passed over it, I apologize.
Yeah. I guess I
Yeah.
looked very
I know, I
engaged.
did.
Your moment of fame.
Anyway.
See, I told you, you were destined to be.
I know, I'm gonna like.
CSBA.
Manifest it, yeah.
Delegate assembly.
Yeah.
And the last item I had kind of for housekeeping was, we also talked in the past about having a couple Chromebooks available at meetings with this new software for the public to use.
There they are.
There they are.
Well, there's
Or
one.
one.
There's
They were
the
here last
others
time too. I did
on
notice.
loan to the liaisons. but yes,
Okay.
And we did have that available last
Yes,
meeting
I
as
saw
well.
Great.
So I'm gonna plan to blurb at
Yeah,
middle school, like
okay.
if we go to a site meeting, just to let people know we've changed our agendas and how to access it. And then that we're still here for board chat. 'Cause,
Yes.
no news is good news, and you hate to take it away when you start really changing things. But at the same time, I think I don't know if we have no one wants to pop in, no one has questions, and it doesn't seem like there's any social media inquiries.
It's not going out in Parent Square anymore either. Now that I think
Mm.
about it.
Yeah, that's
all
true.
of the board chats are on Facebook, and the link is on Facebook as an event. So anytime
Okay.
anybody goes to our Facebook page, it's there.
Okay.
Last month, we did do all of the social media. This month, this is my first day back from COVID, so sending it out should have been scheduled and it wasn't, so that's my fault. But the month prior, we did have it out. We had it out on everything, board chat and the meeting, both. So,
Perfect.
yeah, I don't know how to get them in.
Yeah, but no, it's fine.
Virtual cookies?
We just have to review and see.
Well, and maybe we switch it to have a topic.
Yeah, so I was just thinking
Yeah.
too. I have it on a note as part of our March 21st is the one. with the
Or,
4 other
we've done in the past where we've monitored it, we're all available, like whoever's assigned to it, so that, we ended up chatting, I ended up asking questions. So it's not, but I know Joe probably could have used the half an hour to, another way.
It's always a pleasure talking with our board members, though.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
nice, it's a
but
nice time to connect about
It does solidify what's sometimes on the agenda, like why, like I got little tidbits. So that is good, because then when we do get approached, we can say, well, these are the reasons why. So, anyway.
Okay, anything else under housekeeping or advanced planning? If not,
I think we need a workshop once a month for the next.
all right. Well,
Or a boardwalk or something.
Yeah.
We really need to get
We've got a lot, like I really want to learn about UDL. UDL. See, too many acronyms. And, we've already talked about the newcomer or, thing with Kelly Smith. And I think it would be nice to learn more things so that we can
See it.
do our priorities and keep going on
See it in action.
Like, I'm really bummed that I didn't get to, like, I want to know about the dual immersion program too, but I couldn't go to the daytime meeting. So, just stuff like that is really hot.
The link was
learning.
helpful to know. I learned a little bit about, so that was helpful. But it is nice to see it and talk and hear people. Yeah.
I know Joe's been talking about the Universal Design, UDL, since he got here, but I still haven't made the time to go research it on my own. So if we, had a workshop or study, whatever, there's all these names for these things, but.
Study session.
And then maybe parents, if they're interested in dual immersion, then maybe they come.
Yeah.
I just think it's a time. We're on a new LCAP thing and we're changing things and I want to learn more about it. So I can
Make
better decisions or help make better decisions.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right, with that, a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn at 9:16.
Second.
I'll second.
All right, thank you so much.